tired. I'm so tired. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good morning to my favorite people. Good morning to you. Thank you. Oh, they have flowers for them? Oh my god. That's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Hi, Iggy! Happy morning to you, Iggy! This is the USAID workers leaving and getting cheered by people. I think that's so nice. I think that's so nice. I'm feeling really dead this morning, like tired. I'm dead tired. How are you? I know. I think it's so sweet. Oh my god, I can tell I'm already going to get warm. I think I'm going to need to change my shirt. I'm already warm. I wish I had a cat. Where's my cat cam? I need my cat cam back. Oh, I have too many things plugged in. Anyway, yeah, I'm very tired. How are you? Are you tired? I'm tired too. The relentless news is exhausting. No, it's too much. It's too much. And I'm missing things. Hey, Gimme Coffee, how are you? We were just remarking on how tired we are. Esmeralda, good morning, darling. Yeah. I know, Esmeralda. I know. I'm sorry. You know what? I love that you're halfway through the day. And hopefully that means you're on your way to relaxing. Good morning. Give Lolo coffee. Yeah. I have my coffee. In my peanuts mug. I love this mug. It's my camp mug. I think it's a Coleman or something. Anyway, oh no, it's an Igloo. Igloo makes these mugs with Snoopy on them, and I'm sorry. If you can't get behind Campfire Snoopy, I don't even know who you are. Yes, exhausted. We're all exhausted. So guess what? Hi, Jane. None of you have to do anything during this show. We're supposed to get Epstein files. I thought we got them. Did we not? I'm so confused. What was the shit that they released yesterday? What was that? What was all that redacted stuff? Which was meaningless. Okay, can I just say what is going to happen? Listen. Kash Patel and his little minions have spent the last week yeah, after show handy shredding. They have spent the last week shredding, to Jane's point. Oh, no, you're right, Iggy. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just joking with you. They released... I'm very confused. There's all this redacted stuff, and then people are still asking for the list. I mean, I know what they want is like Clinton or somebody. I don't know. I'm not sure why they're pushing so hard, but they're real mad about it. They want Pam Bondi to resign, y'all. They want Pam Bondi to resign. Oh, this is live. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, this is live. This is at the USAID office in DC. I think it's in Foggy Bottom, if I'm not mistaken. But they had 15 minutes to go in and get their stuff, which I don't know. 15 minutes is not a very long time if you work there a long time. I have a feeling these folks are smart enough that they've been trying to grab their stuff before. But God bless you, USAID. God bless relief workers everywhere. It's not glamorous work. You end up getting sick. You end up getting anything. A million different things. It's certainly not beneficial to the planet to have these people out of a job. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not. You know, there's definitely government workers where I could go, get out of here. And some USAID people are jerks. Yeah, hello. Welcome to the world. But I'm going to tell you right now, I know the agencies work, and their work is good. And it certainly is not a good idea to completely shit can it. They closed the whole thing. Well, I mean, these USAID offices are supposed to clear out. Let me check and see, make sure. But they had 15 minutes to clear their desk. Hold on, let me find the story. USAID. What the fuck about Gene Hackman and his wife and their dog? What the hell happened? Let's see. Trump administration cutting 90% of USAID foreign aid contracts, and documents show. All right, here we go. Oh my God, they're dismantling the entire agency. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. God damn you fucking ads. Fucking hell. Fuck the internet, man. All right. Okay, we're gonna leave that scene for a minute because then I'll read to you what actually is going on. Yeah, this is unbelievable. I just, I don't even know. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what we decided was so terrible. Is it that people really didn't know? Is that really it? Did people really not know? Well, I suppose they think we did. I suppose they think we did weigh in on it because there's an election. But no, I don't know who voted for this. I mean, I do know who voted for this because I listen to them almost every day in some way, shape, or form. This actually feels like something where the stupid people come in and say, oh, this doesn't look like it works. I'm going to break it. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of feelings going on in making really significant decisions about people's lives. And not just these people's lives, the workers, but lives that they impact all over the world. And will someone step in and do that work? Probably not. Probably not. Because DFID, the Great British equivalent of USAID, is already there. All the relief agencies from the world's governments that exist, if they do exist, are already in those countries. They're already doing their work. They were doing the other 40%. And now you want them to take on 100. This absolutely proves to me that if you voted for this, if you sat home because you didn't want to play, if you voted someone else because you thought red and blue is stupid, then you missed the point. You missed the exact point. And they're still not going to care because, again, they're stupid. And they believe the people who have convinced them that somehow this is the worst part of America. When in fact, it's probably filled in with a bunch of them too, by the way. There's Republicans that work in USAID too. I don't know if they're living in reality, Jane. I think it's a blip. I think people... oh, proud of you, Daddy. Oh, This little girl has a sign. Wait, I gotta show you this. Oh, don't go away from it yet, please, because I want to show it. Look at this little girl and her sign. I'm proud of you, Daddy. Oh, it's just terrible. What a bunch of, it's like the idiots are running the idiots are running it. We're on pins and needles. Yeah, here we are again. Give me coffee. Here we are again. We're on pins and needles, wondering day to day whether my husband will get fired. He didn't respond to the email. Oh, give me coffee. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. God, I just hate it. I don't know who's, if you're cheering this on in terms of people being completely fired and programs being disintegrated, then you're a fucking asshole. You're an absolute fucking asshole, and I have no time for you. Because I can't even imagine the fucking argument that you would try and make to convince me that this is good. This is the problem. People think they want to debate with me when it comes down to the fact that they're not worthy people to debate. His chain of command has no idea what's going on. So much contradicting info. The U.S. government is not a great employer on its best day. Okay? The U.S. government is not the best employer on its best day. So the fact that these guys are now running everything is, whatever. Listen to AM radio. Earth 2 exists, yeah. No, I think it's willful. I think there's pretty willful stuff. I never really bought, I buy the cult stuff in terms of, it's like mind melding, right? I buy that cult stuff. And I always did this with Pam too, kind of stuff. And Stephen Hassan, who I have tremendous respect for. And I do understand that there are some cultish ways that people are entangled in MAGA and cannot extract themselves from the disinformation and the hatred and all those things. But, and he said this too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in that how they're drawn into this is because it reflects somewhat of their worldview, right? Whether it's drag queens, whether it's foreign aid, whether it's taxes because they don't understand how the tax system works, whether it's trade and they don't understand how trade works. You know what I mean? It's all of these things that people have their own worldviews about. And some of the worst worldviews have been reinforced by this administration. And so for them, they won. And this is the fruit of their winning. So right on its face, I can't get down with people who think that this is the way to revolutionize the government. Now, if there were smart revolutionaries doing it, I might have a different attitude, but I don't because there aren't. Because smart revolutionaries would not go in and do what they're doing. Period. They fired the fucking nuclear scientists and then have to get them back. Yeah, hold my bear. And I get it. You think you won. But the world is a more dangerous place now because of him. Your world is more dangerous now because of him. Whether or not you want to believe it. Yeah, can you imagine hating Disney? I just it just the level of hate just boggles my mind. I don't know who thinks that. Yeah, who thinks is the way? I don't know who thinks, I understand, there are people who are in the world who are like accelerationists and think that something needs to crumble in order for something better to take its place. And I'm oversimplifying that and I don't mean to, but for purposes of this morning conversation. I think that, yeah. Well, I think ignorant or complicit. Ignorant or complicit. Ignorant or, well, I mean, I'm sorry, Jane. Yeah, like, I think that it's just, like, I think for, like, the tech bros and the people who, have been exposed and at some point considered, more leftist views, I guess, right? I think that they are now complicit because, again, the urge to protect your wealth with some folks is stronger than their urge to do something for the other people. Yes, Lucifer's mommy. Hi. Yeah, I was going to go to that, actually. It started a while ago. Hold on. Let me pull it up because I did have that actually pulled up. Hold on. Thank you, Lucifer mommy. The eyes of the world, he's a follower who believes he's a leader. Yeah, I'm telling you. I hope so, Paul, but I'm not convinced that people are capable of waking up sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I think this feeds their own hatred of other people or their fear or whatever it is, right? I tend to think that it's fear more than it is hatred. Hi, Neil. Neil, I'm glad you're here. Missed you. All right. This is the judiciary, though, and they're doing a sex trafficking. I wonder if it's any good. I am late. I know what you meant. Sometimes I can read beyond the typos. Okay, well, let's see what. Let's see. This has been going on for a minute because they started at 6 a.m. my time. Little Twinkies. You should see the union pages. Many are upset and fighting back, but they need to talk to each other and coordinate. That's a good point, Jane. I wonder about union workers. As W.C. Field said at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere. Hell yeah. So true. So very true. All right. Well, I guess we should watch this trafficking one. Yes, Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog. He was 95 years old. I didn't realize how old he was. Incredibly sad. They don't suspect foul play, so I guess maybe they did a suicide. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I shouldn't presume. But it's just odd to all three of them are found dead in their home. That's incredibly sad. I can't believe it. What was that? IDK raid on gas? Oh, really? Ontario election day. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Jane. Because this actually, some of my hubby's MAGA coworkers are starting to realize that they actually might be fired. Oh, give me coffee. I'm going to be interested to hear what that sentiment is. That's going to be interesting information. Maybe they wanted to go together. Absolutely. They don't seem to suspect anything, untoward. So I'm sure it might have been just one of those situations. Yeah. In my opinion, Hackman never gave a bad performance. Let me tell you, he might have been in a couple of clunker movies. I'm going to tell you right now, Gene Hackman was one of the best actors on the planet. She was in her 50s? Oh, okay. Maybe it was just they didn't want to be without each other. I don't know. Well, God bless their memory, and I hope their families are able to find some peace. Yeah. Oh, a concert pianist. Oh, I did not know that. Wow. Oh, tragic. But he was just an amazing actor. They were married a long time, were they? Like French Connection to me was one of the best movies ever made. And his acting, I think, was tremendous. Like you said, Neil, in any role that he played, even in the movies that were silly or, not his finest, but he was really good. So, R.I.P. Rest in peace, the Hackman family and the Hackman puppy. I thought I was dead once. Turns out I was in Nebraska. Axar Ben, where the girls are the fairest and the boys are the squarest? You mean that Axar Ben? Lex Luthor. He was great as Lex Luthor. Come on now. Badger voting done. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you. Wait. Thank you, Canadians. You keep reminding me. So Canadians, I want to play some stuff from your stuff. I want It didn't make any sense. I want to focus on some Canadian politics, and what I want to also do, hi Peace Love, is he was the blind man in Young Frankenstein. He was good in that too. Oh, hi Hackman line from Unforgiven. Oh, what a great line. Wow, good one. Wow. That was quick, oomph. That's so great. Oh, yeah, Badger, thank you for being a good Canadian, a good Canuck. Did you wear your toque? Did you drink Molson's? No? No? Okay. All right. You can see how slowly I'm moving towards any actual productivity. Canadian politics? Yeah, well, no, even your little politics over there matters, to us over here in the big country. We're in the big country. Okay, what was I gonna do? Actually, I really have to, my eyelashes are like funky and I just have to brush them. Just bear with me a minute. Okay. I was like, I can't see right now. She was 63. That's young. Hello. That's young. Just saying. Let's not go crazy. That's very young. Crazy young. Very young. Thank you, Jane. Very young. Very. I appreciate your cooperation, Jane. Very much. Okay, yes, indeed, we do have the fucking trafficking thing. I'm just not sure I can handle it. I don't think I can handle the oh my god. Oh, there's an old guy walking into USAID. Okay, wait. Let me see. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm getting serious here. I'm getting serious. Really, that is young. Yeah, no, seriously, it is young. They plowed your street last night. What'd they do that for? Was there snow? I hope there was snow. What is this? Senate committee hearing on the nomination of Keith Sonderling to be Deputy Secretary of Labor. There's that. Hold on. Maybe. Hold on. Oh, and that's at 11? Oh man. Oh, wait, I have stuff. Wait, hold on. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Yeah. Okay. I have a couple of smaller clips to start us off with, and we might go to something else after that. And then I have some stuff to read because we've got some reading to catch up on, which we can catch up on reading tomorrow too, but I want to do it today. Okay. Let me show you this. All right. So this is Russian state media from yesterday. But this is from DW, from Deutsche World, Deutsche Welt, Deutsche something, Deutsche whatever. And in Russia, Donald Trump's embrace of certain Russian viewpoints is making waves in Moscow's media. Here we go. Moscow's media is a little weirded out by this. How'd this happen so fast? So here we go. Oh my goodness, that's a little large. You guys are a little large. Come on. Calm down. Calm down. Oh my god, my fingers aren't working today. My fingers aren't working today. My fingers ain't working today. There we go. Val, good morning, my darling. Did you see I shared your beautiful video? I'll play it here too. Everybody, subscribe to Val. I linked it on Blue Sky. I didn't link it on Twitter because, frankly, there's too many mean people on Twitter. And I have just as many people following me on Blue Sky as I did on Twitter, kind of. So I still get good, but it's nicer people. So there you go, Val. I love you. I love you, girl. No egg muffin in front of the president. What's that mean? Oh, no. No egg McMuffin. I loved it. Yeah, no, I didn't want to. There's too many weird people on Shitter. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want you to deal with that. All right, let's listen to what the Russians have to say about anything, as if we care.
Donald Trump's embrace of various Russian talking points is making waves in Moscow's media. Once denounced as the enemy of Russia, America is now being celebrated. High-profile media commentators are highlighting what they call Donald Trump's common-sense approach and believe Europe is now isolated over Ukraine.
Same studio, same guests, same content. The war in Ukraine, which is presented here as the West's war against Russia. What's new is the friendly attitude towards America. Over the last 3 years, Moscow repeatedly attacked Washington, and sharply. Now, the Kremlin is suddenly full of praise for US President Trump's new Russia policy.
We understand perfectly well that the pragmatic approach that they are now showing in their relations with our country, an attempt to restore diplomatic relations, should be welcomed.
Russia's best-known propagandist Vladimir Solovyov is also friendly towards the USA. Previously one of the harshest critics of America, he is suddenly emphasizing the similarities with the US president.
Trump represents the world of realities, the world of feelings, which is based on simple traditional values. We have always been on the side of realities.
The sudden 180-degree turn is no surprise for Russian opposition politician Yulia Galyamina. Speaking on DW, the former MP from Moscow explained,
"This ideology is very flexible, but there is actually no ideology at all in Russia's state propaganda at the moment. There are just short-term clichés that are used ad hoc, on occasion. One thing is used now, another tomorrow, depending on which way the wind blows."
But not everyone likes this today this way, tomorrow that way. This video spread quickly on social media. It shows a man in front of the building of the Russian media group Россия Сегодня, accusing the chief propagandist Solovyov of lying and threatening to shoot him himself on the front line. The so-called military bloggers, the patriotic supporters of the war, are also angry about the political shift. On one Telegram channel, some of them are particularly outraged by President Putin's suggestion that Americans could do business with the rare earths from Russia. We missed the moment when the evil ambition of the damned Yankees to steal Russian natural resources became the prospect of mutual cooperation with American partners. And the wives of mobilized men are even more outspoken on their Telegram channel. Now it's clear what we were fighting for, so Putin could sell Russia to America. Political analyst Ivan Filipov speaks of a genuine shock among Russian hardliners and of consequences.
This will of course lead to anger, to misunderstanding, to protest, but this protest will only be in kitchens and private conversations.
Public protest is therefore unlikely. While the USA is the new friend for Russia's state media, Europe remains the enemy. The upcoming summit between Trump and Putin is also being celebrated by the guests on this show as a victory over Europe.
We will definitely reach a deal with Trump. I assure you all of this will change, and we will be friends with America. And the others will not be at the negotiating table, but under the negotiating table.
The new Russian-American friendship looks likely to face some major stress tests in the near future.
Well, let's explore this new reality with our Russia correspondent, Sergei Satanovsky. Sergei joins us from Riga, since DW is banned from reporting in Moscow. Welcome, Sergei. Tell us more, then, about this blooming friendship between Presidents Putin and Trump.
There's Val's
this
channel.
friendship started during or even before Trump's first term in 2016. Russian politicians and propagandists had high expectations from him at that time. But when Trump started supplying weapons to Ukraine and imposing sanctions on Russia, it was like a cold shower for Russia. And that's why, before Trump was sworn in again this time, last January, Russian politicians and propagandists were very cautious and didn't voice their expectations. And only after Trump's first statements on Ukraine, Vladimir Putin said that they were on the same page, and basically he openly praised him. At least until yesterday, it seemed like Donald Trump totally agreed with him, but now it looks like at the same time Trump wants to show that his voters, at least, that Putin can't win him over with just flattery. And we can listen to what the US president said about Vladimir Putin yesterday during a cabinet meeting.
Serum, you know?
He's a very smart guy. He's a very cunning person, but I've dealt with some people that I've dealt with some really bad people. But I will tell you, as far as this is concerned, you have to understand, he had no intention, in my opinion, of settling this war. I think he wanted the whole thing. When I got elected, we spoke, and I think we're going to have a deal. I can't guarantee that. You know, a deal is a deal. Lots of crazy things happen in deals, right?
So I guess what we see here, these words, we can see as Trump's reaction to the fact that many say Donald Trump is under Russia's complete influence.
And so how have Russian propaganda narratives about the US changed?
Well, as we have seen in the report, it has made a U-turn. Before Trump was sworn in January, the U.S. was portrayed as Russia's main adversary, who was even planning to destroy Russia. And the U.S. was even seen as the only power in NATO. Propagandists explained that there was no need to engage with the EU because it would do whatever the U.S. would tell it to. And now it's a different story. Trump is Russia's friend who understands Putin like nobody else, and the European Union is considered a warmonger that is trying to undermine the improving relations between the United States and Russia.
And how is this affecting the attitude of Russians towards the war? I would say not much so far. The latest polls show that Russians are almost evenly split on the war in Ukraine. So around 45% support, as they call it, the military operation. Another 45% say that they favor peace talks. But we should also understand that even among those who support peace talks, many of them don't support returning territories to Ukraine. And
why?
The number of those who support the war in Ukraine has, we can say, insignificantly
There's a significant
grown, or maybe it stays the same. And this could be explained by the way how Russian propaganda presents this war, which is it only reports on the advancements of the Russian army, but doesn't say anything about the cost of this war, which is 100,000 people dead, as confirmed by independent journalists. And of course, another reason for such results might be that in Russia you can't just speak out openly against the war because you can end up in prison and spend the maximum of 10 years behind bars.
Thank you, Sergei. Sergei Sosnovsky in Riga.
Guess what we're going to move towards, kids? Kids. Let me see. What did I want?
Darrell grips his phone tightly.
Please don't move on to just the next story. When I lived in Chicago, I worked at an international health, and I used DW to have conversations. Oh. Yeah, DW is not bad. I mean, you know, them and France 24. I watch them fairly often. You know who else I've been watching is Bloomberg podcast. There's a couple of anchors on the Bloomberg shows that are actually really, they're just smart. They're not good. They're just smart. And they know how things are working. All their muscle was otherwise occupied at the moment, so Trump had to kick Rubio's ass personally. What? He kicked his ass? He did? Hi, Carla. Can we call Putin Satanovsky from now on? Absolutely. Of course we can. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course we can. Bruises on Trump's hand. I think Macron did it. And Macron was trolling the hell out of that motherfucker. I can't believe people who were just like, oh, Macron was so flattering. No, he wasn't. Oh, my God. Then you guys don't know how to read subtlety. Because he was clowning that guy the whole fucking time. That just cracked me up. All right, hold on. I want to find some other clip that I saved for you last night. Oh, I made a movie last night. Oh, but it's kind of boring. And you guys have already seen it. So don't worry about it. But I did make another movie. Oops. Oh, man. That's not what I want. Get out of here, duck. You're just like your father. Let's see. I mean, we're going to go to that protecting victims of human trafficking and online exploitation. I'm just bopping around my little stuff before we get to that. Because you know what? We don't have to read things in the order they came in. Okay, yes. I wanted to play this.
Darrell grips his phone.
Oh, it's actually what I was going to play. Oh, hello. I'm sorry, France24. You did have my video lined up. You weren't just playing randos. This is what I wanted to play. This is about the Congo. Oops, no, it's not. Here we go.
Darrell grips his phone tightly. He's anxious. This dancer from Bukavu, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, fled the violence before the M23 rebels arrived.
Things are unclear politically speaking. It's not really very clear when I'm going back to Bukavu, but I try to check the news every day to see how things are going over there.
Like Darrell, many artists have taken refuge across the border in Rwanda, a country accused of backing the M23.
Rwanda is not a safe country for people.
This dance festival organizer believes that now, more than ever, cultural collaboration must continue.
Now is not the time to give up. Even if there are complicated political reasons, there's always this friendship between us and the dancers of Congo. And that's what it means to be an artist, to create this connection, this friendship, to see how we can inspire the world.
A friendship that Emmanuel from Kigali and Alobak from Goma embody in their performance Mitsi Mitsi.
It shows the resistance between two friends who really work together. I'm Rwandese, he's a Congolese, but we've been working together as just to reflect how friendship occurs.
We have a common language, which is dance. It's my way of sharing a message of peace, of living in resilience, despite everything that's happening back home.
Words that sharply contrast with the violences devastating the neighboring country. Art has the power to unite, but it cannot prevent the fear of a new all-out conflict in the region.
Influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate are on their way to the U.S.
Another one I wanted to play.
Ban on them has now been lifted.
Sorry, that's exactly what I was going to play next. Have we done Andrew Tate getting his passport? No, we haven't, Carrie. We were just about to do that. I don't plan things this way. You guys are just brilliant. Yeah, Trump brought up the Congo. So I have a really dear friend who is from the Congo, and he worked in anti-slavery in the Congo, and also lived in Rwanda, or lived right on the border. And Rwandan intelligence are brutes. The Rwandan government is actually incredibly authoritarian. You have to, from Rwandan dance to Tate. Yeah, I know. It's kind of a crazy mixed up world, isn't it? So that's why it's a good idea to stop between those stories and palate cleanse and enjoy the beautiful message that came through that last story. So I actually need to find out how he's doing, because the Rwandan government is not safe refuge for Congolese people necessarily, and the Rwandan intelligence services are fucking like the CIA. Like, they're fucking like the CIA. I mean, not probably on the scale of the CIA, obviously, but Rwandan intelligence is fucking evil. Sorry, they are. They really are oppressive to the people who live there. And so, you know, it's you're caught between a rock and a hard place, basically, when you live in that region and try and do work. So I do wonder, I wonder if he's okay, but I'll find out. I have a common friend in Washington, D.C. who probably knows where he is. So yeah, but I just want more of that. I want more examples of what life actually should be like, which is people dancing together and sending a message through art that, you know, relationships are more than politics. And that, I think, is a really incredibly beautiful thing that we're going to need to be reminded of more and more as we go through this. So, hi, Carrie. So good to see you, darling. All right, here we go. Here's the Andrew Tate bullshit. Fuckers.
Influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate are on their way to the U.S. after a travel ban on them has now been lifted. This is a new picture of the brothers boarding a private jet overnight heading to Florida. The brothers were in Romania facing charges for alleged human trafficking and sexual exploitation. It's unclear what conditions the Tates were allowed to leave Romania under. Officials there say the decision was made at the discretion of prosecutors. The brothers, who are dual U.S. British citizens, were arrested in Romania in 2022.
They're
Both
U.S.
men deny
citizens?
the
How?
allegations against them.
Hello, I'm
They're
Mark Brown.
rapists.
Get more
Hi, Mark.
great ABC.
Mark, we love you. L.A. loves you, Mark. But let me see what else I have here. Hold on. Mama, 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 mama. Oh, what's this? When's this? Oh, in 5 days. We're going to watch that, but that's in a few days. Sorry. I had it in the watch later.
Influencers Andrew and
Be quiet. We don't want to hear anything else. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Hearing with sanctuary cities, prisons, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. So that's fine with that. And then I think I'll do this and I'll do that. One parent is British and one is American. Oh. Trump wants them nearby for what, Carrie? Yeah, I'm sure they're going to Mar-a-Lago. Well, maybe they'll traffic Tiffany, and then it'll be a problem. Or maybe Tiffany's too old. Maybe Tiffany's too old. Maybe they'll traffic Barron. No, he's too tall. They can't traffic Barron. He's too tall. I would say something really bad right now, but I don't want to make a joke about human trafficking. Although I really want to make this joke because it just was really funny, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold back. I'm holding back. Something about a box and too tall to fit in. I don't know. I didn't say it. To make Andrew the anti-human trafficking czar, of course. Don't do it. Don't do it. I just did, basically, so never mind. Don't hold back. Look at you guys. Do it. Well, I mean, just basically that he's really tall and maybe he wouldn't fit in the cargo box. I don't know. Hard to fit him in the trunk of your car. I don't know. I didn't say it. I didn't do it. I just made a joke about it. I'm a comedian. We're supposed to make jokes about stuff like that. It's called gallows humor. Oh, wait. You're supposed to be the one on the gallows, though, making that joke. Well, I just don't like to make jokes about people, you know, like serious topics. Well, okay, let's see here. U.S. Senate panel questions Trump nominees. Oh, maybe we'll watch that. I don't know. Well, okay, so it's human trafficking. Here's your choice. mean, something bad is going to happen. Now, whether or not the world reacts to what bad happens is another question. Because apparently people can do really bad things in this world, and a lot of people don't really give a shit. You know? Like, they just don't give a shit. So, whatever. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? What's this Sonderland? He's the trade guy? I don't know. Okay, let me just quickly check to make sure we don't have anything more interesting. Oh, wait.
Legal.
Oh, it's in
para
Spanish.
Trabajo. Entonces ya habrá momento, después de que pasemos, digamos, este primer proceso, pues de plantear también estos temas. Él habló también.
I'm so sorry. I thought it was showing. It's the Mexico president, Scheinbaum, and unfortunately, it's all in Spanish, and I don't have a translator. Choose your own adventure. Yeah, well, until it hits their backyard, gosh, Paul, I don't even know if then it's going to matter. I really don't. I have no confidence that this is going to matter to anybody. Doesn't really matter. I mean, I think he can shoot somebody. I don't think, no, it's not Sonderland. It's Sonderlin. And then there's a Navy Secretary John Phelan hearing as well. Or however you say that name, Phelan, Phelan, I don't know how do you say it. Let's see. Pasadena School Board. Oh, I gotta go to the school boards. What am I doing? Gosh, sorry guys. It's not a very eventful Thursday, which I guess is a good thing. All right. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Is that over now? What's going on? In recess. Oh, okay. So let me show you what I'm looking at. All those MAGA heads hate FEMA until a natural disaster hits their backyard, and then they're happy. Of course. Of course. Oh, the DW link. I'll drop that. Hold on just a minute. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. The House rules goes into contentious hearing. What? Okay, it's not going to show there. Fine. Fine. Where is it? Oh, because it went there. I understand.
Well, now to Russia.
Here is the DW news, and I'm gonna share it now in the chat. In the chat. I'll share it in the chat. They hate FEMA then too, but we'll take the money. Yeah, it's true. DW link to Russian story, because I don't know what else to call it. There you go. There you go, Jane. Neil, it's a 30-second movie of Trump breaking all 10 commandments. What? Yeah, Claudia Scheinbaum. Yes. Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just be patient. Do. Okay, wait. Here we go. Bump. Where is it? Oh, honestly. Playlist? Yeah, playlist. What did I have on my Wake and Bake playlist? Stop!
Your argument first this morning.
That is not what I wanted you to do. Let's see. Oh, when was that? Oh no, that's. Gosh, I guess we watched everything. Okay, I'm an idiot. What do I know? They're never happy, and everything is someone else's fault. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, this is. Why can't we shake free of? I don't know. I still don't understand this world. I really don't. And Democrat weather machines. Why do we have to go through all this? Why? Let's see. That's the USAID. Oh, USAID's getting mad. Aw. Don't hurt your hand. Don't hurt your hand. Are they going to get arrested for defacing signs? Or is that called refacing signs? Is that called defacing or refacing? Are we doing an interview? Okay, never mind. We'll come back to you guys. Okay. There is this the thing about the redefacing, refacing, de-defacing.
Subcommittee is called back to order.
Whoa, what? Who are you?
Others are on the way back from voting. Thank you
Where are you?
all for being here. And the chair recognizes the ranking member of the entire committee, Mr. Raskin, for his 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
We're jumping in the middle.
The most famous child sex trafficker of our time, I venture a guess, is Jeffrey Epstein, a man of extraordinary wealth, power, influence, and connection, a good friend of Donald Trump's, actually, and other politicians who used his resources in order to exploit girls. I'm wondering if, Ms. Brueggemann, perhaps you could start, if you would explain basically how sex traffickers work and how they are able to get access to underage girls and to exploit them for their purposes.
All of them are Trump.
Thank you for the question. Sex traffickers work in many different ways to target vulnerabilities of the individuals they're targeting to exploit. So for young people, it's often through grooming, through approaching them, and offering.
Yeah, hide your daughters, people. The Tates are on their way.
At home, whether
so in his case, he had a woman, I think her last name was Maxwell, who worked with him, and then she would procure the girls by giving them gifts of money or clothing or invitations to parties, that kind of thing.
My understanding is, yes, that there were people were being approached and offered financial rewards and benefits, an opportunity to come to parties, but we're not told exactly what was being expected of them, what would happen once they arrived, and then they had difficulty to not consent to what was happening and were entrapped in that situation.
Yeah, and so they tended to be poorer or vulnerable from a more like a broken home or dysfunctional family situation, right?
Yeah, I think what we've heard from our witnesses is that people are targeted in different ways. So it might be because they were low income, it might be because they have an insecure immigration status, it might be because they're queer and not being respected by their communities, it might be because they're seeking validation and love and attention. So there are lots of ways to target folks.
Okay, so you had an interesting colloquy about the law of prostitution. I know that's not what this is about, but I'm just wondering, did the law criminalizing prostitution and putting women in jail for prostitution help any of the girls who were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and his network?
Exactly, no. The criminalization of people engaging in the selling of sex does not help anyone. It makes them more vulnerable, more at risk, and unable to come forward for assistance if they do experience abuse and exploitation. And the criminal records, as we've heard, follow them throughout their entire lives.
Okay, I've got an article I'd like to submit.
We should make sex work safe
about Elon Musk's business empire is built on $38 billion in government
and
funding.
trafficking.
Without objection. If I could, from the Washington Post. That's a lot of money. People are getting a lot of money from the U.S. government for different purposes, and I hope that our oversight committee will be able to ferret out the waste, fraud, and abuse in a lot of these programs, But how much money, you were asked the question, how much money does your organization get? And I know you're a consortium of how many different organizations?
Right, so we do have 89 different members. We also have staff ourselves, so we receive direct federal funds in order to run a program to help survivors clear their criminal records. We provide training and technical assistance to housing providers, and we're also working on other training and technical assistance programs. And then our members have different funding that they get directly.
And so how much money did you get in government grants and funds?
So we get the amount, as Mr. Biggs pointed out, I think it was around 2 million in that one grant
billion?
year. Million.
Oh, 2 million,
No,
okay.
yes.
Because I was talking about Musk with 38 billion, and you said 2 million for all of the consortium of...
Over a period of 3 years.
So perhaps I come to you, Ms. Lopez.
2 million over 3 years.
What would the effect be of actually demolishing government funds, grants to all of these organizations? There are some people who just want to shut it all down, and what would that mean?
I can't speak to other organizations, but I can tell you Pearl at the Mailbox will never accept government grants.
And how come you don't accept government grants?
Because we want to be able to continuously employ the people that we choose to employ, and we don't want to be beholden to another agency that tells us what to do.
Okay, and Ms. Cooper, what do you think the effect would be of a shutdown in government funding?
Well, I think anti-human trafficking and child exploitation efforts have been historically underfunded. So really, we need more funding for enforcement efforts, for demand reduction. But I think that it's really important to clarify that there's good funding and there's bad funding. And good funding needs to go to support law enforcement. It needs to go to support survivor care. It needs to go to support legal services. But bad funding would be funding that supports the full decriminalization, and that means funding that supports decriminalizing brothel keeping, pimping, and sex buying. What we need is an increase in efforts to enforce those third-party profiteers that profit from prostitution.
Thank you very much.
Gentleman's time has expired. Now recognize the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate all the witnesses being here today. You know, I understand Pam Bondi said that they're going to release the flight logs of the Lolo Express, Jeffrey Epstein's planes coming out today.
Lolo.
We're asking for them to be unredacted. We want to know who was on the flights.
Oh, good luck.
I understand there were 200
no,
victims
you don't.
in that process.
You don't want to know more.
Get to the bottom of that. I'm grateful President Trump has the courage and
know.
the willingness to put the names on a list and let everybody know what was going on on this island that Epstein owned. But anyway,
that's right.
Ms. Basham,
that's right.
Can you maybe break
Pretends
down
not
the
to know that
funding,
he Googles
the trafficking
Lolita
funding that
porn
was
every
put in
night.
by 45, President Trump, as opposed to the Biden administration? What were the differences in the budgets we spent on anti-trafficking between those administrations? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I know some of that off the top of my head. And so just as a background, I did used to work at the Department of Justice, was in senior leadership there, actually at the Office for Victims of Crime, which is the largest federal funder of domestic anti-trafficking efforts in the nation. So I can tell you this, that under the last year...
Redacted after they changed the name of Trump to Drump.
It was allocated that over $100 million in a single fiscal year just from the Department of Justice
good idea, Paul.
for
Let's
domestic
smoke.
Anti-trafficking efforts.
Let's
This is
smoke.
the largest ever given in any
Let's do it.
administration. And I do agree with Representative McBath when she said at the beginning that anti-trafficking efforts
Like,
need
share,
to be
subscribe
prioritized. That's
to
absolutely
the broadcast, please.
Additionally, $35 million was allocated for shelters. Shelters, as Ms. Bruggeman mentioned, are one of the most essential parts to the recovery
I love
of
smoking
survivors of
partners.
trafficking. They are the foundation. We have got to have funding for shelters. Since that time, the funding has dropped to about half, many years less than half of that $35 million, and it has never come back up. And that's with inflation. That's
So
with
the
soaring
Biden
inflation.
administration, even with inflation, cut funding to less than half than what President Trump was spending. So explain to me the shelter now. How is that such an integral part? You don't have to go in detail because I got some other questions I want to ask Ms. Cooper and some of the others, but how does that help the process? Does it just get folks off the streets? Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah, you have to have safe shelter. Any survivor of trafficking, a lot of times when they leave, they are in a very dangerous situation. They need a place that's
putting them in
safe, and they
churches,
actually need a place
Ms.
with
Basham?
wraparound services so that they can fully recover and then move on with their lives. And that usually takes at least a year, sometimes 2 years for long-term
Yes,
care.
Esmeralda.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
you mentioned the unidentified 56,000 children, I believe was the number you told us, where these kids, we know they've been victimized by family members or whatever the case may be, which is incredibly tragic.
Really?
Do you think facial recognition will help? Is that something down the road that our law enforcement agents will be able to use to try to identify these children and get them out of those harmful situations?
What?
Yeah, actually, facial recognition is a game changer for that purpose because children's faces are in the photographs, and I think that it's led to quite a number of successful identifications and rescues of children that have been seen in that database. So Homeland Security investigations, the FBI, all of our federal and state partners need to be able to have permission to use that technology. It's a game changer.
Good. How much money do you
I know.
get
What
through
happened?
your
I thought it was
organization to
80,000
the
children.
organization
They were in Ukraine?
Nothing.
Not a
Holy
dime.
shit.
But
What were they doing
$30
there?
million a year, I
Of
think,
course,
is
now they have to
your
be
budget, is
deported.
that right?
Yeah, our budget's significantly higher than that because we do have some organizations that are sort of subsidiaries.
Oh my God, you're
subsidiaries
making
of
my
us.
nose
So
run.
I think that right now we're at about $50 million.
Thank
that
you,
we give out.
and tell Ms. Tebow we appreciate your efforts. Ms. Lopez, Pearl at the Mailbox. Wow, what a name. Tell me, how does that work? I know you only got about 60 seconds or so, but tell me a little bit about Pearl at the Mailbox and what you
Pearl
do
at the
in your
Mailbox. What is
organization.
that?
Mailbox, we work on prevention. There's many organizations that work on the post-rescue, but
What do
there's
you
not
do?
a lot of people working on the prevention side.
Okay, what do you do?
If we
I
can
wanna hear.
teach people to spot it and stop the grooming process, we have a better chance
All right, I like
of
this.
protecting children from going into trafficking.
How do parents and grandparents, what is one of the signs that you think that we maybe as parents and grandparents might miss?
They
What
might
is
be
something
doing
that-
this stuff,
I know you
hon.
need to be involved in your children's
Hate to
lives.
say
and we
this, Mr.
certainly
Moore.
are, but tell me, is there a certain thing that you recommend, maybe a 2 to 3 bullet points? Hey, here's what parents and grandparents need to be looking for.
You know, in my case, I would always say, and other survivors, it's the behavior that changes before ever words are ever used to say what's going on. If a child is behaving differently, wanting to spend more time away from home, maybe have new friends, just things to look at. And we've lost our ability to listen to our intuition, and we kind of forget that, okay, maybe we need to pay attention because something's not right in our home. But I say that the schools is the missing link. We don't have enough prevention education in our schools.
Thank you, and I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
And that might
Thank
be
you.
true, but
Gentleman
where
yields
are you
back.
going to fit that in the
I
day?
want to include into the record without
Where exactly is
objection,
that going to go in the school
an
day?
acknowledgement of the
I mean,
good
we
work
do a lot of
Mr.
anti-trafficking
Goldman,
work
who's
in schools,
prosecuting,
by the way. School people are constantly doing
became an international
anti-trafficking
sex
work.
trafficking conspiracy, apparently. So that was good
So
work,
if you
and I
want to
wanted
train them, that's great. That's a great idea. We should have training programs for teachers on noticing the
Thank you
signs.
very much for that, Mr. Chairman.
I agree.
Actually, I'm going to rescind that yielding.
But
because,
don't assume that
Mr. Cohen got
that's
here
not a
just in the
huge
nick
part
time
of people's
before you
days
started,
when they
and I
have
promised him he
vulnerable
could go next.
populations.
You stand by the praise, nonetheless.
Yes, I stand by the praise. I stand by the praise, and
As long as you reiterate it again before I go.
I don't know if they've arrived yet or not,
Mr.
Badger.
Cohen, yield to you for 5 minutes.
We saw him get it on the plane.
I'll
I got a
listen to
hair
your
in my mouth.
testimony and
I got a hair in my mouth and your
issue
name
that
on it.
bill on the SOAR bill, which you may know.
Let me
Ms.
see if I
Bassett
can
had
find
mentioned
out.
it, and I think a list of bills she mentioned. But I want to ask each of you, have any of y'all heard of either Andrew or Tristan Tate?
Here we go.
Ms. Brugman, what do you know about Andrew and Tristan Tate?
I
Jobless
understand that
claims
they're
spike.
accused of sex trafficking internationally, and there's questions about their jurisdiction and their freedom of movement at this time.
Thank you. Anybody else know about them? Ms. Cooper, what do you know about them?
I just am aware of what I read in the news, that there's several cases pending.
And they are social activists and whatever they call them, influencers.
Influencers, correct.
Right, and they were, they're no longer having their travel restricted. They were allowed, given their U.S. passports back today, and they flew on a plane allegedly straight to Fort Lauderdale. There is allegations that there was involvement from our administration, the Trump administration, that got Romania and pressured Romania to release them. They've got some pretty serious charges against them for rape and sex trafficking in Romania and also, I think, in England.
But Blue Anon,
What do you think the odds of them returning to Romania
it is almost spring break.
are after they've been released with their U.S. passports? Ms. Brugman?
My assumption would be very low.
Yeah, thank you. And anybody else have an opinion? Well, that just happened today. It's pretty startling what they've done. They're dual U.S. Canadian, UK citizens, and not good folks. Let me ask you, are you all familiar with, where's my, here I am. Are you familiar with any grants that have been restricted by the Trump administration here in the executive orders that affect your particular area, Ms. Bruggeman?
Yes, there were grant funding from HHS for direct services for trafficking victims that were halted for about 2 weeks, leaving providers without access to funding and uncertain if they would be able to continue supporting those survivors with housing, food, medical care, legal services. And also, we've seen halting of funding
It's what we said it was going to be.
from
I'm
USAID
sorry.
and
I
the
wish
State
it wasn't.
Department that have ended critical human trafficking work internationally, but also that we're hiring survivors here in the United States as consultants and experts in developing those programs who have lost
A lot more people are
going to
die.
When their
A lot more
contracts were
children are going to be
canceled.
trafficked.
And this would be damaging to arresting sex traffickers in the future, would it not?
Schools, public school
Absolutely.
actually
Without
helps
building that
kids
capacity
from
and
being
that
trafficked
expertise
sometimes,
based
you
on
know.
the knowledge of survivors, we're
Just the
unable
presence
to
of a
actually,
school can keep a
effectively
child
stop
from being
trafficking,
trafficked.
labor and sex trafficking. Any restriction, any halting, any stopping of that work, of that critical work, is a gift to traffickers.
Esmeralda, Reddit's a deal for stopping interfering in Romania. Really? I got to look that up.
Ms. Bruggeman, do you think, you've been an expert in this, do you think your being an expert in this area makes you more likely to be aware of these issues than if you were an expert in rocket propulsion or electric cars?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. The DOJ office that administers the Office of Victims of Crime and the Office of Violence Against Women and the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency, all of which fund important anti-trafficking exploitation programs, they've been threatened to be slashed as well. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir. We're very concerned about the ideas that those offices, the staff would be slashed. We need those staff to help administer these grants and make sure that the funding continues to move forward, that everything is reviewed and programs are provided with the support they need.
And when we look at budgeting, and we've been given by the judiciary areas of over $100 million to look at budgeting, do you think these areas are more important to stop sex trafficking than building a border wall?
I do.
Thank you. I'd like to mention my bill that I had introduced to reauthorize the SOAR Act, which was to give people training to identify people that have been sex trafficked. It was law. We got it passed through the House. It stopped in the Senate for funding problems, but it's been reintroduced. And I hope that y'all would encourage your senators to support it. It failed last time for whatever reason. And the House had passed pretty much unanimously. It was successful between September 2017 and 2023. They hosted more than 200 events and trained over 260,000 healthcare professionals across the country. So thank you very much, and thank you for your testimony.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for your testimony. As we've held hearings on this topic the last few years, the numbers, the scale of the problem continues to be absolutely horrifying, and it's particularly alarming, the prevalence of these horrors here in the United States and the number of victims. I do think there is some cause for encouragement that we have an opportunity to start to turn a corner and to help prevent these crimes and to help victims and to stop there from being even more victims going forward. One reason, of course, is that we have an entirely different situation.
Okay, there's a link to the CBS story about the suspicion.
This problem. A second reason is that I think there is a growing realization that we need to use the full force of the criminal code to hold traffickers accountable. I'll give you one quick example of that. In my state of California, there was a bill that said, well, I think we should classify trafficking of a minor as a violent offense, as a serious felony. Incredibly, the state's assembly's Public Safety Committee initially voted not to do that. They said, no, this is not going to be considered a serious crime. However,
No,
the public
that's not what they
backlash
said,
was
you
so great
stupid
that they eventually
butthead.
reconvened and held a revote, and that bill made it all the way through.
Send them
and
to
was
Signal
signed
if you
into
want to
law
use them.
by
I'm
the
hoping to
governor, so
protest
now
the
it actually is
trans-military ban
considered a
tomorrow.
serious felony with
Awesome.
real consequences in California, and I think that there's more we need to do under both state law in California as well as under federal law. A third area that is very important and was mentioned by Ms. Lopez is education, and actually a good example, a good law that we have in California is one that is designed to promote prevention education in schools. There's an organization based near my district, Three Strands Global, that has pioneered a lot of very good education efforts in classrooms. And then finally, I've introduced the National Human Trafficking Database Act. This is a piece of bipartisan legislation. Mr. Johnson on this committee is a
yes,
co-author.
and he should be kicked in the face, just like Mr. Smith from the Matrix.
At DOJ, as well as incentivize certain
He's as
state
boring
law
as
enforcement
Mr. Smith in the
report,
Matrix.
to the database, and so reported data would include data that indicates the presence and prevalence of human trafficking for every county and every state, the names of all anti-trafficking organizations operating in each county, the total number of state-level human trafficking organizations collected in coordination with local DAs, and then, as I mentioned, it would also incentivize states to submit this data by directing DOJ's Office for Victims of Crime to award grants to states to collect and submit the data, authorizing $50 million per fiscal year. I also want to thank Ms. Hageman, also on this committee, for authoring this bill with me as well. So I believe, Ms. Basham, you mentioned this issue in your testimony. So maybe if Ms. Lopez, if you wanted to just expound on the education, the importance of the education piece of this, and then Ms. Basham as far as the data collection goes.
How did this guy vote on the trafficking in persons funding?
Education's key, and that seems to be what's lacking. And if you spend resources to educate individuals about what human trafficking is and the grooming process that leads to trafficking, people have the ability to understand it. We teach our children how to drive cars, and it's a process before they get a license. So why are we not teaching the children how to spot when somebody is trying to harm them, such as a predator, whether it be in person or online? That is lacking.
I can hear it in my head. Hold on.
Throughout all of our country, and specifically in Arizona, we can't get these programs in our schools. So we need to focus on education for prevention purposes.
Thank you so much. There are two key reasons why data is important, and specifically this National Human Trafficking Database Act. The first is it actually funds state law enforcement, and as we all know, law enforcement tends to be historically underfunded, and especially when it comes to trafficking, they just don't have enough resources.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, they don't put anything to that.
But where we need it most,
Lee,
so that every state in the
finished
nation
my meeting. Now I'm off for the rest of the week, clearing clutter, delivering donations to my favorite housing charity.
Unfortunately, is not an exciting word. There
I love you so much.
With it, but those numbers represent individuals.
Thank you for
Data
being
are
such a
people.
wonderful person.
And so every single number is a person. And the number one biggest gap, in my opinion, in trafficking is that victim identification. It sits at about 0.4%. So over 99% of victims are never identified. And the National Human Trafficking Database Act helps us to see what we're not currently seeing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you very much for your work and your advocacy, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields.
I gotta go poop.
Mr. Raskin, you have some UCs?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The girls were just so young, the horrors of Jeffrey Epstein's private island. That's Vanity Fair. And listen to the Jeffrey Epstein tapes. I was Donald Trump's closest friend in the Daily Beast.
Without objection? And also, without objection, Mr. Fry will be permitted to participate in today's hearing for the purpose of questioning the witnesses if a member yields time for that purpose. And now,
what's Zeppelism?
Now, are you ready, Mr. Goldman?
Ready.
Okay.
All right, Dan Goldman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You are right. I supervised sex trafficking cases in the Southern District of New York. And based on that experience, as well as 10 years of experience prosecuting other cases, I can say with great certainty that victims of sex trafficking in particular are the most traumatized and stigmatized and difficult witnesses, and I don't mean difficult in presenting difficulties, but that it is incredibly difficult to have victims feel comfortable coming forward to testify, which often is required in order to hold people accountable. I just want to make sure that we are all in agreement here that federal funding is essential to fighting online exploitation and sex trafficking. Ms. Lopez, do you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think
I know you don't take it, but I mean you don't accept it. You said, but you do support
There are
the Human
agencies who
Trafficking
need
and
it, though.
Exploitation
Stop
Prevention
it.
Training Act. Do you not?
I do, and I believe there's a place for federal funding.
All right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Ms. Cooper.
shut up.
The right kind of federal funding, so funding that
Sebastian?
supports.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I assume Ms. Brueggemann as well.
Yes, of course.
Now, Ms. Brueggemann, tell me a little bit about how online
Everybody's rushing to be accepted by the new guard.
Victims
Run to be accepted by the new guard.
Well, occurs and also influences the willingness of other
Rule me,
victims
Daddy.
to come forward.
Sure. Online exploitation happens in a lot of different ways as technology continues to evolve. And online services are used for both labor and sex trafficking. So recruiters use online spaces in order to recruit workers with false promises of jobs and then bring them in and traffic them throughout our country. Sex traffickers also use online spaces to identify and groom people. We're talking in games, in apps, in online chats. And then also use online spaces to share, advertise, and sell.
Right. It's a very common method
Here's Delee's
for
mama.
sex traffickers to prey on victims, right?
Absolutely. As our society has moved
Here's
online,
to the
so
mamas.
have the criminals.
Right.
In whatever form they
so
take.
if there were a social media king, for example, who has expressed support for sex trafficking, would that be a concern of sex trafficking victims in your experience?
I would think absolutely yes.
Well, I just want to put up a photo here. This is Elon Musk in 2014 with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Whoop, whoop.
Mr. Raskin had mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell was the right-hand person for Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation of minors. And we spoke, Mr. Cohen spoke earlier, and I want to return to this, about these individuals, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. They were charged in December of 2022.
Bring it, baby.
With human trafficking, trafficking of minors, rape, including minors, money laundering, and organized crime charges. In March of 2024, the British police obtained an arrest warrant for them based on an investigation into rape and human trafficking. And if anyone wants to go online and get a sense of this Andrew Tate, you should. So I can't quote almost anything he says because it is so vile and misogynistic that it is not appropriate for a morning television show. Last week, there was an article in the Financial Times about how the Trump administration was pressuring Romania to lift restrictions on the Tate brothers and to allow them to leave Romania. And lo and behold, what do you know? Just today, they were released from house arrest, given their passports back, and flew on a private plane to Florida. And I can assure you they will never return to Britain or Romania to face these charges. For 5 years, Andrew Tate's account on Twitter was banned. But when Elon Musk took it back over in November 22, he reinstated him and gave him a social platform to continue their sex trafficking and their illegal conduct. And Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to take a very close look at these social media companies and their role in the online exploitation of sex trafficking.
Thank you, gentleman's time has expired. Chair now recognizes the chairman of the whole committee, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you having this hearing today. And I'm going to yield my time to the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Biggs, for having this hearing. I want to dive in. Ms. Basham, you dedicated most of your career to combating human trafficking.
There's the Financial Times article. There's no paywall to it, so that's the Financial Times article from February 17th.
Cases are prosecuted at the federal level in this country.
Yeah, so in 2023, it was around 1,000, and the year before that, it was around 1,600.
And during these prosecutions and your review of them, do you think that there are adequate protections for victims of human trafficking who may have been forced to commit nonviolent crimes by their traffickers?
No, there's a huge gap.
Do you think that that is a serious problem in our federal system of laws that we don't have those protections?
Absolutely, and I think it's covered in several fold, one through the vacatur and expungement, as I mentioned, but also through providing civil legal services at the federal level and allocating funding.
Wait, what's that? What happened?
So
I didn't do that.
This year,
I didn't do that.
reintroduced the Trafficking Survivors Relief Act.
I did not do that.
Along with colleagues that really span the ideological spectrum. This is a truly
I did not do that.
nonpartisan piece of legislation.
That just happened.
With that particular legislation, would that close some of the loopholes in our legal system and provide adequate protections for victims?
Absolutely, and one of the other ones I want to mention is the right for affirmative defense from the outset. So that is one of the biggest reasons. One of the biggest questions is why would someone, be deemed both a victim of trafficking by the court and then at the same time want their crimes vacated? Well, the reason is that oftentimes they don't have the right to have that affirmative defense, and that affirmative defense is what makes it crystal clear to the judge and to the court from the beginning. It lets them really look at the case and say, is this a victim of trafficking? Instead, what happens is the crime is being prosecuted. So DOJ or whoever puts prosecutors who are, used to prosecuting white-collar crime. Like, they're not used to prosecuting necessarily trafficking cases. So they're focused on the crime, usually money laundering, bank fraud, those sort of things. And so when the focus is on that, then through the process, the victim actually, the survivor bubbles up, the real story bubbles up. And at that point, they're looking at two different things. And so that's what's really a huge problem. And so the affirmative defense is so critical, and that's what it really establishes from the outset.
Correct.
That's part of it.
And to be clear, I think most of our states, close to 50, have this at the state level.
Absolutely. I think it was 40, it might be 49 now. I think one state just crossed that finish line. And that is the biggest precedent that we have for this, because there are more trafficking convictions that actually fall at the state level. And we've seen that for over 10 years. So we've seen that actually states that implement this, they are not overrun with cases. And additional to that, they've actually strengthened, as Sherry mentioned, a lot of states like Arizona, they have actually strengthened their laws over the years.
Right, and this is obviously, so this legislation, nonpartisan, obviously 49 states have it, approaching 50. So when you look at, obviously it's pro-victim because it provides that affirmative defense, but it's also pro-prosecution, right? This is why prosecutors and sheriff associations, and they love it too, because, and why is that? Why do you think that they would want something of this magnitude?
It makes their job easier.
Correct, because they're able at that point to go after the real culprits, right? The real individuals who are behind the trafficking victim and go after these rings.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Chairman. With that, I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I
was just going to say, if Mr. I'm only going to probably take 3 minutes if you want 2 more of mine, Mr. Fry. You sure? Okay.
Yeah, I just have a couple of UCs real quick, okay? First of all, I'd like to introduce in the record this image. We'll get you the hard copy. Mr. Epstein, Ms. Maxwell, and President Clinton. Also, I've got another article called Schumer Got Thousands in Donations from Jeffrey Epstein. Without objection, those will be admitted. And Mr. Swalwell, you're 5 minutes now.
Thank you, Mr. Biggs. And look, as we have trafficking victims testifying to us about really important issues, I think it's insulting to them to try and bring in politics right before I question them. Look, we'll see whatever is on the Epstein list if the full list is released, but I'm here to get serious things done, and so my line of questioning will not be absurd in the spirit of what was just said. And Ms. Lopez, thank you for sharing your story as well. I was a prosecutor. I've had child sex trafficking victims testify. It's one of the hardest things in the world to convince them to confront their attacker, their assailant, their trafficker in court, and more cases plead out because you want them to avoid doing that. And so these monsters typically don't get the full sentence they deserve because you're trying to protect the victim from having to go through cross-examination and seeing that individual in court. So thank you for sharing that. Ms. Bruggerman, could you share with us what would happen to organizations that help victims and provide support to victims and survivors of trafficking and exploitation if the temporary restraining order holding back this administration's order is lifted?
The order on the halting of funds?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, the service providers depend on a variety of different sources of funding, and I think the witnesses have talked about the different sources that they're familiar with. It is a web of protection that is woven with federal funds, private dollars, donations, earned income, that nonprofits around this country are working every day to ensure that they are able to provide consistent, reliable, dedicated services and support. When that is interrupted, even for a week, for a month, the message to survivors is we cannot be relied upon. The day that you are able to find the time, the effort, the strength, the ability to escape your situation may be the day that our doors are closed.
I'm assuming Bill Clinton is on those flight logs.
You may never be able to come out again. So if we allow our providers to close their doors,
I'm assuming there's a lot of people on those flight logs.
We are inviting traffickers to walk in the door.
That doesn't lessen Trump's culpability.
And we are telling survivors that we no longer care
And Bill
about
Clinton
your
is not the
safety.
president right now.
We no longer care about your security.
So go ahead and do whatever you need to do.
Whether or not you're able to ever
Sorry, I'm not
escape
covering for
your
anybody here.
abuse and exploitation. We just can't let that happen.
Thank you, Ms. Bruggerman.
Like, you know, okay.
Imagine
Oh my
all of
God,
you
he
know
did
this,
just roll out of
Ms.
the...
Lopez, but in my experience as a prosecutor,
I don't know what.
I was trained in law school and through the training that the district attorney's office provided to prove cases beyond a reasonable doubt. Of course, you want to have compassionate people, doing the job of criminal prosecution, but I could never have done my job unless I had outside organizations who were working with the victim.
That's very true.
All of the life issues outside the legal issues that needed to be addressed, when they are pulled away from the trafficker and they need to reestablish their lives, get their confidence
Hi,
back,
Lauren. Good morning.
get their health back, receive the mental health services that they certainly need, to get a career if they have children. A prosecutor can't do that. And the only way to hold these monsters accountable who are trafficking them is for a prosecutor to have a victim who wants to be at least somewhat a part of the process. And so your organizations help us bring accountability. And accountability puts the worst people away and prevents the next victim from being trafficked, but it also is a deterrent to someone who will see that you will pay if you do this to a victim. So again, to each of you, thank you for what you do in this cause. Our victims are worthy of your support, and I hope that we can see any funding that's been pulled to be restored immediately. And I yield back.
Thank you. For the record, Shared Hope International, Congressman Linda Smith was the architect of TVPA, and I introduced that, and she's here today. Thank you for being here. And the fact sheet on combating demand and harmful impact of decriminalization of anti-trafficking also entered into the record without objection. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Lee, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. I, too, am a former prosecutor and served as the lead prosecutor on the Child Exploitation Task Force while I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tampa. So I have seen firsthand both the horrible crimes that are perpetrated against our country's most vulnerable children, and also how vital the work by federal agents and others in investigating and prosecuting these cases truly is. As a member of Congress, I am committed to ensuring that we do everything that we can to stop the sexual exploitation and trafficking of children and to stop these predators. Ms. Cooper, it has indeed been a pleasure
my Amazon
and an
hair?
honor to work with you and the Tim Tebow Foundation
everyone have a good
on
day.
the Renewed Hope Act.
RFK Jr., that's
You
right,
mentioned
Jim. He
earlier
was
in
there
your
too.
testimony, this
Hi,
bill
Lauren.
is designed to
Good
provide
morning. I like your
resources and
sunrise.
training, and also requiring the Child Exploitation Investigations Unit and
I know,
HSI
right? The
field
island
offices
is surely-
to hire
thank
an
you.
additional 200 computer forensics specialists and criminal analysts, because these units
The island
are a dedicated
definitely
team of
isn't the only
investigators who
place
can
things
play a
happened. How
crucial
about West
role in
Palm
combating
Beach?
human trafficking. I appreciate the bipartisan support of many members
Was he
of this
ever at
committee and the
Mar-a-Lago?
chairman's leadership on this legislation. You touched on something earlier, though, that we need to revisit, and that is,
Okay,
you said
come on.
the words
Alan
the right
Dershowitz?
kind of
Real
federal
scared.
funding. So
The Dersh.
clearly, the Renewed
New York
Hope Act,
apartment,
to find these
the
specialists
house
and
in
add to them to
Arizona.
supplement the team doing this important work.
I think there was
is
one in
indeed
Chicago.
adding additional federal employees.
Like, there's places
of a
all
certain
over that he
type and
took
specialty
girls.
who can help rescue these children and
Women.
stop these
I don't even know why I
predators.
said that.
But I'm interested, Ms.
Yeah.
Cooper, how much does the Tim Tebow Foundation
Yeah, this is
receive in federal
ridiculous. They
funding?
voted for a president that credibly raped a
And
13-year-old
how
girl.
many victims has Operation Hope identified?
They don't care.
Tentatively
They
identified
think that's actually a
730
benefit and not
safeguarded and,
a deficit.
rescued, I believe it's 289.
So I think it is important for this committee hearing to
I'm
note
sure they were real
that your
good buddies.
foundation
There's a
is
big
doing
poster.
that kind of extraordinary
Raskin brought his
work
big poster
in
of,
partnership
like,
with federal agents.
16
but
pictures of
not
him and
by
Epstein together.
surviving on federal funds. In fact, you have received no federal funds to do the important work that you were doing.
You know,
to stop child
sometimes,
exploitation.
lady,
now would
fuck
you tell
you. You
us,
don't know how agencies
if
work.
We had those
And
additional
sometimes there are
200 agents
agencies.
at
I've had
HSI,
plenty of
what you
jobs where
believe
I
we
didn't
could
go
accomplish?
after government funding for a multitude of reasons.
So over 25 days,
It wasn't because we
they've
rejected
tentatively
it.
identified 730
It was good
of the
reasons not to go
57,000
for it.
children that are waiting
Made
and
life harder, by the way.
in abusive
God,
situations
man.
and hoping that someone
I would
is
love
gonna,
to get
you know,
federal
knock on that
funding for
door.
everything, but it wasn't
So
available
imagine
for
what
everything.
we could do with 200
Jesus
full-time
Christ, I hate
investigators and
Republicans.
victim identification
I
specialists,
hate
because
the
right now, Homeland Security is a global leader in
disingenuousness.
this issue. They are the tip of the spear. They
I'm
are
sorry I
the most
use the word hate so
well-trained,
much these
along
days,
with, some of
but
the
I can't
analysts
help
at
it. I
Interpol
just
and
need to get it
Europol.
out.
But we need to
I think he
take
spoke
that
earlier,
army of
Liz
seven that's sitting
Prismami.
over there at the Cyber Crime Center, and we
think.
need to put it on blast, in the words of Senator Cornyn. And that's why we need 200 investigators and analysts to ramp up that effort and get to those 56,000 remaining children that are waiting.
And you
Wait,
also mentioned
who
in
are
your
these
testimony
56,000
the
children?
proliferation of CSAM materials, just how rapidly that material is increasing
check
and growing.
TPUSA,
And
Ms. Lee.
I'd like for you to touch on two things. One is why these federal investigators, why this is important that it sits at HSI.
I learned how much
and
I use that
also
word when
the
I
urgency
thinking I
of
didn't
us
use it.
actually enacting
Joked
this
I'd give
legislation,
saying
getting this done,
saying
and
I
getting it
hate
signed
for
into
Lent.
law.
It was a revelation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
The reason why
I think I need to
HSI
really think about
plays,
that.
Sort of the most
Seriously, I'm
important
not
role
being
globally
silly.
is
I'm
because
being
they
serious.
have international jurisdiction, and the nature of child sexual abuse material.
Because I don't know if I
is
know
that it
anything
crosses
enough
both
about something to
state
hate
and,
it. I mean, I can.
federal
I
and
know.
international lines, and so the offender who is raping their child in Ohio is going to share that image with someone overseas in a country, and they may share it with someone in a country that does not have good diplomatic relations with our country, and that's why HSI's partnership with Interpol and Europol is so important, because not all countries want to share their data directly with the United States, and they need a neutral third party. So that's why Interpol's relationship in this ecosystem is absolutely vital in order to find those American children that are waiting to be rescued.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, and I thank the gentlelady for her work on this bill and other bills and legislation in this area. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate all of our witnesses being here today, and you know, we're not going to stop till we get this.
Can't stop, won't stop. That's right. We know, idiot. That's right. Okay, hold on, because I'm pulling up some information about these 300,000 / 56,000 / 40,000 / 30,000 kids that are missing. And I'm sure. What's with the Bill Clinton pick? I don't know. It just came up on the screen. I swear to God, Jane. I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. He actually did come. He did speak for a minute, Mommy, but I don't know what he said because it was dumb. Yeah, Clinton and Epstein. Yeah, somebody flashed a picture on that. It was unrelated to the testimony at the time. So I'm not entirely sure what they were thinking, but, you know, there it is. So what was I doing here? I want to, oh wait, that's what I was doing. Okay, 56,000 children missing. Is this like of all time or something? What? I don't even understand. I don't even see a story about that. Because I literally see in 1996, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police reported that approximately 56,000 children under the age of 18 went missing in Canada. You know, like that's where 156,000 references around missing children, but I don't understand. I don't see anything, but I do have this. So, oops, hold on. Let me. And then I want to read that Financial Times article too, about Romania. God. Come here, duck. Come here, duck. You're just like your father. All right, this one I want to read. Fact Focus claims that more than 300,000 migrant children are missing lack context. Tax cuts for the rich for last 20 years have added more to the debt than anything else. Hey, Al, how you doing? I agree with that. AP, they're trying to pass a bill to take away their rights. Which one? Which bill is that? Because there's so many. Wait a minute. Where did you say that? A huge human rights protest at the Iowa Capitol. Oh, you know what? Actually, I did see a little bit about. Hold on. Let me find that. Hold on. That's right. I didn't know how big it was. Hold on. Thank you, Al. Let me see. Where is it? Come on. I had it pulled up. Damn it. Damn. God damn it. Oh, Iowa. I'm just going to look for Iowa. Oops. I have to spell it right. You should probably spell it right. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I love this. I'm here for this energy. Thank you, Al. What's up? Thank you. Appreciate that. I had no idea it was so huge, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Put it in my veins. Let me get fraud, waste, and abuse. Oh, actually, I can't remember. Why all of a sudden is the Baker Act a big thing? I don't know, Jim Malgren. I haven't seen that. I believe you, Al. Did Biggs enter that? Is that what that was? Oh, I totally missed it then. Doggy employees? What about doggy employees? Max, that's great, but I am never. Well, you're absolutely right, Al. The revolution has begun. Yes, I agree with you. And I say, let's go. Now that we're here, let's fucking go. So I agree. This is wonderful to see. I love all this resistance. I fucking love it. I think it's great. I'm going to turn it down just a teeny tiny. I'm going to turn myself down just a teeny tiny. So let me tell you about the fact. Oh, actually, shit. I left this fucking story over here. Hold on.
So there's only one person.
I want to read this. Go Iowa, man. Come on now. Do it. They have Joni Ernst. That's Iowa. I should put that in there, huh? Sorry about that. I love it. I love it. I am here. I am all here for this. Fucking Iowa. Yeah, exactly. Fucking Iowa standing up. It's like the best thing ever. Fuck Iowa. It's so great. Hi, Mask. Didn't Jim say something about Corstein? Doggy employee being involved in a company that deals in CSAM? Oh. Did he, Mask? In the dark web? I've read a couple things about Corstein, or whatever his name is, Corstein. I don't know what his fucking name is. Little baby Nazi. But I haven't read that in particular. He did. I'm gonna have to look at that. I want to see if they're, I want to try and see what some of the signs say. There's trans, there's a bisexual flag, there's a pink triangle. I can't quite, it's a little blurry to read the sign, one of the protest signs. God damn. Well, that's easier. Yeah, that's what you were talking about. Due to impatient, Muscat all have erred in the Nazi progression and not... Wait, I want to read that. And not gone for the weakest first. Exactly. Seem to recall a post a couple weeks ago. I just didn't read up on Corstein. Better than the usual IO news about Patriot Front marching in the street. Fuck yeah. Whew. Okay. That's fantastic. That makes me so happy. I fucking love that. I have always, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to say it again. I believe in the youth of this country. I think they know compassion, and I think they're sick to death of fucking bigotry and constructs like gender and all of that. Wasn't it the calm? What's the calm? Give me coffee. Let me, is that the, I thought it was their state house. Maybe I'm not. I'm probably wrong. Now that kid is a senior advisor to the State Department. I mean, Kash Patel. Hi, Kash Patel. Dan Bongino. I'm Dan Bongino. I have to write that fucking song. I need Bongino. I'm not sure what the lyrics are going to be to that. But it's going to be to the tune of I Need a Hero. Rest of my life. Yeah. Yeah. So there's like fucking, I don't even know. Maybe the Tates are going to get some kind of, yeah. Maybe they'll be put in charge. They'll work for Marco Rubio at the State Department in the trafficking in persons. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like any of this at all. I really don't. Fuck, man. This is worse than I thought it was going to be, just so you know. I really didn't have my bingo card was set on some pretty bad shit happening. But my bingo card was not necessarily this level of bad shit. And big balls. Isn't that Corstein? Oh, that's not Corstein. For some reason. I thought that was Corstein for some reason. Hold on. Let me do this. All right, what do we got? Greg Olear and the Five point out the convenient coincidence of the proposed Trump $250 bill. What? 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 Okay, this, okay, well, we'll see what it is. Let me turn it up. Okay, here we go.
So I don't know if people saw this, but this Representative Joe Wilson, whose real name is Addison, wants to feature Trump's face on a new $250 bill. Most valuable bill for most valuable president, he says. And he gives this AI rendering of what a $250 bill would look like. And I don't know if you know this, but I happen to know that 250 as a denomination is Russian. The Russians had this as a denomination, 250 rubles, right? Back in the Romanov era. But here's what's interesting. On their $250 ruble bill, if you look really carefully behind the Romanov eagle, what do you see?
Holy
fuck! What do you see? You see it?
Holy
coming
fuck!
into view yet? Yeah, it's a swastika. They're
Holy
Nazis.
fuck!
So I don't know if people saw this, but this Representative Joe Wilson, whose real name is Addison, wants to feature Trump's face on a new $250 bill.
Oh my God. I did not know that. Of course, I never had a $250 bill. Ruble. Drop your pants. We need to verify. What? I know. What? What? I know. What a coinkydink. What? I'm sure it's just a coincidence. That's Greg Olear, so it's not, some rando. House File 583. Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you, Iggy. This is specifically what was being protested in Iowa. I had a feeling it had something to do with the transgender identity removal. We're removing entire groups of people in this country. In case you missed it. So House File 583, which removes gender identity as a protected class in the Iowa Civil Rights Act. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, $3 bill is more apt. No, prison sentence. Dying in prison is apt. That's all he's apt for. This one right here, this guy in the middle, waste. He should just die in prison. That's all I want for him. That's all I want. My grown-up Christmas wish is that he die in prison. I'll see if I can find the Jim post on that. Because I definitely just missed that one. It's probably on like X. In anticipation of Magaflation. Magaflation's happening, by the way. All right, I have a few things I want to share with you, but I want to read this quickly. Just go through this fact focus. Claims that more than 300,000 migrant children are missing. Lack context. Republicans, including former President Donald Trump, have recently claimed that hundreds of thousands of migrant children who cross the U.S.-Mexico border unaccompanied are missing. Then criticized the border policies of Biden administration and Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. Ohio Vance, whatever his name is. Oh, is this when before they got elected? This is before he got elected. All right. Vance, the VP now, repeated the claim during the debate. We have 320,000 children that our Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost, he said, as he met Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, blah, blah, blah. But immigration experts say the claims regarding missing migrant children lack significant context. Interesting. It isn't showing you 5G. Oh, all right. I think this is, hold on just a minute. Big noise. Sorry. I just have to, something. Probably operator error. It's probably just a keyword error or something. Okay. Immigration experts, here's a closer look at the facts. Claim the Biden administration has lost more than 300,000 unaccompanied migrant children. The facts. The claims misrepresents information in an August report, I hear my doggy, published by the Department of Homeland Security's Office of the Inspector General, which faulted Immigration and Customs Enforcement for failing to consistently, quote, monitor the location and status of unaccompanied migrant children once they are released from federal government custody. The report noted that more than 291,000 unaccompanied migrant children had not, as of May 2024, received a notice to appear in court. Additionally, more than 32,000 unaccompanied migrant children got a notice to appear but then failed to show up for immigration and court hearings. Those figures came from ICE and covered, this is what I thought, covered a period from October of 2018 to September of 2023. During that period, there was a total of 448,820 unaccompanied children released by ICE to the Department of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. But experts say it is a stretch to refer roughly 300,000 children as lost or missing. Oh, well, they went to the ORR. They've been resettled. This is not a missing kids. It's a missing paperwork problem. Oh my fucking God. It's just that the kids were... The ORR resettles immigrants and communities. I used to work with the immigrant community in Portland, Maine, who were settled there by Catholic Charities and the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Their families, or if the kids were unaccompanied, I'm sure they're either with family members or in foster or whatever. But I'm going to tell you right now, I worked with those kids. We had a grief program specifically for refugees in Portland, Maine. I know it sounds so weird that I actually have background in a few key areas that the Trump administration is just trying to fuck over. This is disinformation. Damn it. Fucking. This is why this is nutso. This is nuts. It is nuts to me that we cannot solve this problem. That we let this $300,000 number float out there. Oh, give me coffee. My mom adopted me through Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities is a great organization. They did a lot of very heavy lifting when it came to resettling refugees all over this country. They've probably had their hand in most refugee resettlements. They do a lot of good shit in the community. I'm sorry, MAGA. You fucked up again. And disaster relief. You fucked up again. Lee, you too? Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, love bunnies. I'm going to call you love bunnies. God damn. Oh, you have a screenshot? Thanks, Mask, for Jim's post. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, Lee, I love you. Love you guys. Big noise again. Sorry. Yeah, so that's what this is. This is just a fact of you haven't kind of looped the loop, and which is bad, don't get me wrong. But I also can definitely see where agencies fuck up once it's handed off to the Office of Refugee Resettlement or off to Catholic Charities. I could see some dumb shits like not, whatever, some stupid process where they don't keep up. But these aren't missing children. And there's definitely a problem with trafficked children, with grooming, with online, whatever. But that's not this problem. Oh my God, disinformation. That's it. Disinformation. Oh, love in the chat for our love bunnies. Experts say there are many reasons why the children might not have appeared for hearings or received a notice to appear in the first place. For example, they only get a notice to appear when removal proceedings against them have begun, and if ICE hasn't started that removal process, they wouldn't have gotten a notice in the first place. A lack of communication between government agencies could mean a notice is sent to the wrong address if it's been updated with one agency and not the other. Oh, that doesn't ever happen, right? You guys know. A child's guardian may be unable to take them to court, perhaps because they live on the other side of the state. The report does not provide any explanations. All of these factors can explain some of the deficiencies, and a conclusion that the children are missing could be very, very premature, said Raul Pinto, Deputy Legal Director for Transparency at American Immigration Council. Carmen Hills, an ICE spokesperson, said the agency agreed with the Inspector General's recommendations to improve information sharing within ICE and externally with HHS, but disagreed with the suggestion that the children are missing. We are concerned that the report's findings are misleading and may be misconstrued because they fail to acknowledge key facts. Oklahoma Bill 593. What? I mean, half their MAGA wives write romance novels. Also, they would be registered on the sex offender registry? Uh-oh, here comes the porn, Max. Max. Here comes your porn ban. Holy shit. Oh, I do like Lawrence. Hill said ICE does not generally issue court notices to unaccompanied children until after they have been placed with a sponsor who have been vetted by HHS so that they can get settled and seek legal help. An unaccompanied migrant child is defined by the U.S. government as someone who's under 18, lacks lawful immigration status, and has no parent or guardian in the country to take custody of them. When they're apprehended by the Department of Homeland Security, they're transferred to the Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. Yeah. All these links will be in here. All right, let's listen to Lawrence. We need some Lawrence right now. Hold on. Thank you, Gal.
Well, 4 years ago, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has spent his entire adult life trading on and profiting from
now walk the dog.
His famous father's name, wrote, quote, American and global consumers of measles vaccines will learn that they have been misled by the pharmaceutical industry and their captured government agency allies into believing that measles is a deadly disease. Some mothers believed Robert Kennedy Jr. when he told them not to worry about measles. Some fathers believed Robert Kennedy Jr. And tonight in Texas, a child is dead because of the lies told and advanced around the world by Robert Kennedy Jr. The victim killed by measles is described only as a school-aged child. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has vaccinated his own children, lies about measles and about vaccines. And those lies are what propelled him into a seat in the cabinet room today, where his famous father once occupied the Attorney General's seat during cabinet meetings, with his famous uncle, John F. Kennedy, occupying the president's seat in those same cabinet meetings. That was the 1960s. In the cabinet room today, Robert Kennedy Jr. showed not the slightest sign of being even slightly moved by a child who was not vaccinated for measles being killed by measles.
There have been 4 measles outbreaks this year. In this country last year, there were 16. So it's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
No big deal, not unusual. On the day a child dies, from his kind of advice. We have measles outbreaks every year, thanks to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Before Robert Kennedy Jr.'s anti-vaccine preaching took hold in this country, measles was officially declared eliminated from the United States of America in the year 2000. Eliminated. 0 outbreaks, 0 deaths. Then came the deadly lies of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the lies that earned him his chair in the cabinet room today, where more lies were publicly told in the cabinet room by more people than any other cabinet meeting in the history of the White House. In every other presidency, cabinet meetings were closed-door events. They were not clown shows for the cameras. In the pre-television age, when presidential staffs were much smaller, they relied much more on the cabinet in those cabinet meetings And those cabinet meetings were much more substantive and serious. Cabinet meetings held by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in that same cabinet room with the door closed and no cameras present included strategizing for lifting this country out of the Great Depression in the 1930s, and then even more dramatic strategizing about how to win World War II. In the more modern presidencies since then, cabinet meetings became much less frequent and much less important over time. Today, Donald Trump became the first president in history to invite the richest person in the world to speak in a cabinet meeting simply because he is the richest person in the world. That's the only reason Elon Musk was invited to today's cabinet meeting, where every member of the Trump cabinet stared at Elon Musk as if they were staring at their boss. Billionaires in the cabinet is a Trump innovation. Prior to Donald Trump, no president invited a billionaire to be a member of the cabinet or attend the cabinet meeting. Donald Trump has at least 3 billionaires right at the table with him as members of the cabinet. But Donald Trump's cabinet billionaires know that they will never come close to being as rich as Elon Musk. But if they worship him enough publicly, Elon Musk might make those billionaires a lot richer in the future by letting them in on some of his deals, and he might do that for Robert Kennedy Jr. and everyone else in that cabinet room today. Elon Musk has received massive government subsidies to achieve his wealth. Elon Musk has invented nothing. Elon Musk invested in an electric car company that already existed, which then became hugely successful by selling electric cars to liberal Americans, mostly in California at first, who thought by buying those electric cars they were helping to save the planet. And instead, that money from liberal Americans hoping to save the planet made Elon Musk the richest person in the world. And then he used that money to buy the presidency for someone who doesn't believe climate change is a problem and who wants to burn as much oil as possible. Elon Musk knows more than I do about electric cars. Elon Musk knows more than I do about rockets. But Elon Musk is an utter ignoramus about American history and American government. With his brain warmly bathed in that ignorance today, Elon Musk said this.
President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. Literally. So, and I do not give false praise.
He's not from around here. So, there's things he doesn't know. He's from South Africa, where you don't learn in elementary school that Thomas Jefferson was Secretary of State, that Alexander Hamilton was Secretary of the Treasury. You don't grow up in South Africa having the slightest idea who was in Abraham Lincoln's cabinet or Franklin Delano Roosevelt's cabinet. He stood in that cabinet room today having absolutely no idea who Frances Perkins is, the first woman member of a cabinet, President Roosevelt's Secretary of Labor. She created the biggest, most enduring, most important program in the history of American government, Social Security. That was her idea, and she got it done. Nothing anyone in that room today does in the next 4 years will last as long as Social Security. Nothing Elon Musk ever does in his life will last as long as what Frances Perkins created as Secretary of Labor in 1935, which, in addition to Social Security, includes things like the minimum wage, the 40-hour work week, things that have become so essential to the fabric of American life that people think that they were always there. But no, those were Frances Perkins' ideas. When Elon Musk took up residence in Canada at age 17, he certainly didn't spend his time studying American history or American government. One of the joys for Donald Trump, no doubt, of having Elon Musk in the cabinet room with him today is that for the first time in the cabinet room, Donald Trump might not be the most ignorant person in the cabinet room about American government. Donald Trump took questions from very tame, very well-behaved, mild-mannered members of the White House press corps in the cabinet room, who did not scream questions at him the way they always screamed their questions at Joe Biden. They didn't, and the way they screamed their questions at Joe Biden's press secretary, they didn't do that. And to every question, Donald Trump gave a response that included at least one lie. Every single one of them. And on the day that Donald Trump was doing that, as if on cue, Washington was graced with an article praising Donald Trump for taking more questions in his first month than President Biden did in his first month or President Obama did in his first month. The National Journal frequently does good work, but it is frequently imprisoned in the conventions of the Washington press corps. And there's nothing the Washington press corps cares about more than asking presidents questions. And I mean, they care about the questions. They do not care about the answers, and they prove that. They do not know that a lie is not an answer. And so, yes, Donald Trump took more than 1,000 questions in his first month, and he did not answer any of them because a lie is not an answer. Having watched how easy it is for Donald Trump to lie to the White House press corps, Elon Musk has decided to do exactly the same thing. One of the lies he told today was that he restored the funding of Ebola prevention, and there was no interruption in it. And that is not true, as Rachel pointed out in the last hour. That is a lie, as we'll report in more detail later in this hour. Donald Trump, in an echo of his joy about the nickname for his first Secretary of Defense, reveled in the nickname for his choice of Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, retired General Dan Kane.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Yes, sir. And Raisin Kane. I liked him right from the beginning. As soon as I heard his name, I said, that's my guy.
Raisin Kane, that's my guy. The guy who chooses people based on their nicknames is not going to give you the best cabinet ever.
We are going to appoint Mad Dog Mattis as our Secretary of Defense. But we're not announcing it till Monday, so don't tell anybody. Mad Dog. He's great. He is great.
General, as you know, James Mad Dog, shouldn't say it in this room, Mattis. Now, there's a reason they call him Mad Dog Mattis. Never lost a battle.
He lost his battle with Donald Trump. When Donald Trump's first Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis, resigned his position as Secretary of Defense, Donald Trump instantly claimed that he fired him. And then Donald Trump spent years publicly attacking him, even though he used to love his nickname. Donald Trump's lies today about assistance to Ukraine, it's a lie he cannot stop telling.
As you know, we're in for probably $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. And that's a big difference. So we're in for probably 3 times as much.
Donald Trump lied about all of those numbers. And he told the lie that Europe has only loaned the assistance to Ukraine, and Ukraine will have to pay it back, but the United States will not be paid back. Here's the truth. Europe has delivered much more aid to Ukraine than the United States. Europe has delivered $138 billion in aid to Ukraine, and the United States has delivered $119 billion in aid to Ukraine. That's it. Not $300 billion. The United States has not done that. Donald Trump more than doubled the amount of aid the United States has sent to Ukraine in his lie today.
Not one person stopped him.
And not a single White House reporter objected in any way, challenged Donald Trump in any way about telling that lie straight to them. They just counted as another question answered by Donald Trump. There are some very good White House reporters, very good. But enough of them are so weak and ineffectual that they become essential components of the clown show themselves. They are characters in the clown show.
This is propaganda. This is the
Elon Musk turns them into clowns by lying to them and getting away with it right in front of them, with none of them daring to challenge Elon Musk's lies directly to them.
Now they're shutting them out completely.
And of course, they do the same thing with Donald Trump. They've always done the same thing with Donald Trump. Donald Trump said something today that would have provoked any other cabinet for any other president to immediately have a meeting about invoking the 25th Amendment to remove that president from office for mental incompetence.
Canada should be our 51st state.
Donald Trump said Canada should be our 51st state. If any previous president had said that, he would have been immediately rushed to the hospital. And not one White House reporter challenged Donald Trump on that insane statement.
Bye, Carla. Have a good day.
And
Be safe.
Donald Trump's accompanying lie that we subsidize, that was his word, subsidize Canada with $200 billion a year. The United States of America does not subsidize anything in Canada. The United States of America does not send subsidies to Canada. Never has, never will. But there is no evidence that anyone in the White House press corps even knows that. Not if you listen to the way they swallow those lies that the Washington press corps fully respects and accepts as answers from the president to their important questions. But maybe the biggest failure of the White House press corps today was when Donald Trump said that he is not going to cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. And Donald Trump said nothing about the fact that the Republican House of Representatives voted to cut Medicaid by $880 billion in a budget resolution that Donald Trump supports last night.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. There won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it.
That was the best and most important question of the day. And Donald Trump just said, we're not going to touch Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. And not one reporter in the room said to him, why did you touch it last
Then
night?
why?
Why did you support the Republican budget resolution last night in the House of Representatives that cuts $880 billion from Medicaid? Donald Trump said, we're not going to touch it. After touching it last night and him personally helping to round up the final votes to pass that resolution to cut Medicaid. The 200-year-old man appeared in the cabinet room today when Donald Trump invoked his lie about people 200 years old receiving Social Security. Remember when Elon Musk got caught lying about people with birthdays 150 years ago receiving Social Security? Elon Musk shut up about it after he got caught lying. What did Donald Trump do? He made the lie bigger. The 150-year-old man became the 200-year-old man. It was a day of false praise in the cabinet room and false praise by the Washington press corps for Donald Trump taking their questions more than other presidents have taken their questions, and absolutely no concern exhibited whatsoever by the Washington press corps when Donald Trump responds to their questions with the craziest lies ever spoken by a president of the United States.
That's great. Thank you for that. I do miss a lot by not not watching television or not looking for him in particular, which I need to start doing. Oh my goodness gracious. We still have stuff. Okay, please don't go anywhere. He is a pathological liar. He absolutely is, Paul Langan. He is, Paul. He is. Okay, let me I want to pull this over. I dropped this link earlier on in the chat. This is the archive of the Financial Times article about the Tates and Romania and the Trump administration putting pressure on the Romania. Oh, whoops, sorry. You're not looking at it, are you? Oh, there you go. This is about the, I try to watch Lawrence's, that's actually, yeah, that's a great idea, gal, and easy to find on the web, so. Stupid chuds believe everything. The cult lives on and they're thrilled with what's happening. You're absolutely right, Butterflies. You see the same chuds that I do for the most part. Maybe even more. I don't know. In terms of YouTube travels. But but he really they really will totally justify every single iota of action that's being taken. And they are woefully ignorant on the actions that are being taken at the same time. So it's kind of funny, you know? It's kind of funny that way. I don't know. All right, so let's read about this ridiculous. Routinely hear approval of what's going on by people with no idea of what's going on and taking no steps to find out. Independent journalism. That's right. Is that what we're calling it now? Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's absolutely fine with people that have no actual idea of what is actually happening beyond the soundbite. Beyond the soundbite. So, and they're usually stuck a couple of, well, maybe one news cycle back. That's the other thing. They're usually still stuck sometimes in a previous news cycle. But they catch up. They catch up. Because there's always something new. There's always something new. I am unable to ask, how do you know? Because blocked. I know. I'm blocked by everybody now, which is fine. It's for the best. It's for the best. And would be blocked for asking. Yes. Oh, yeah. That's true. That's true. Gosh, you know, you can't ask questions. Karma is a bitch, isn't it? Karma's a bitch. Yeah. Karma's a bitch. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I just did there. I hit my keyboard. Oh, God. Sorry. Oh, what did I just do? Wait. Sorry. I froze us. Sorry about that. Oh, fucking hell. That makes me laugh. All right. Is this big enough for me to read? Okay. All right. God, I hate being right. Just kidding. I don't know what we're talking about either. Okay. Trump administration. This is from the Financial Times. Yes. Oh, Max, I just sent that to my daughter. She's going to use that. That's fantastic. That's actually going to be evergreen. I love that. 109. Even 7 to 19 is a good one. I think that's great. I think that's one of the best trolls of this entire situation. Seriously, Max. Dropping Psalm 109. What is it? Paragraph? I don't even know what those are called. 8 to 19 or whatever. You got to read it, you guys. Trust me, karma is a burden for some and biscuits for others. Some wait until the afterlife. Yeah, absolutely. Karma doesn't happen on our timing. I love that nobody reads the whole psalm. Oh, verse, right. Verses 8 through 9. Thank you. 19. Yeah, it was very good. Thank you. Woo! Sorry, everybody. I guess I'm just a fallen woman. All right. Trump administration presses Romania to lift restrictions on Andrew Tate, and I guess they did. This is from the 17th, but this is what a little bit of a kerfuffle. Brothers Tristan and Andrew Tate have been charged with sexual misconduct, organized crime, and money laundering. Womp, womp, womp. Even the demonstrative Christians. Yeah, you're right. They have no clue. Donald Trump's administration has pressed Romanian authorities to lift travel restrictions on the self-described misogynist influencer Andrew Tate, a champion of the U.S. president who is facing criminal charges in Bucharest. Andrew and his brother Tristan Tate, who are dual U.S. and U.K. nationals, have become a cause célèbre in right-wing social media after having been arrested in Romania in 2022 and charged with human trafficking, sexual misconduct, and money laundering, as well as starting an organized crime group. I mean, what? Holy crap. They've denied wrongdoing. Oh, yes. I've seen their videos. Yeah, I really believe that when they say it. The Tate's case was first brought up by U.S. officials on a phone call with the Romanian government. I'm going to make this a little smaller, so I think it'll be easier for you to read. Well, not that small. Well, maybe I was wrong. Yeah, there we go. Bum, bum, bum. The Tates case was first brought up by U.S. officials in a phone call with the Romanian government last week, and then followed up by Trump's special envoy, Rick Grenell. Hi, Mike Flynn. When he met the Romanian foreign minister at the Munich Security Conference, said 3 people familiar with the matter. So during the Munich Security Conference, when they were discussing the just had happened call between Putin and Trump, and they were coming together as European defense ministers and foreign ministers, and recognizing that Russia was and the U.S. was now an enemy of European security and abandoning Ukraine. At that very meeting, where we listened to a lot of that meeting, they were literally putting pressure on the Romanian diplomats to release credibly accused human traffickers, rapists, and organized criminals. At that very meeting, there was a shakedown. We shook down the Romanian government at that very fucking meeting. A 4th person said a request was made to return the brothers' passports and allow them to travel while they wait for court proceedings to conclude. Romanian Foreign Minister Emil, apologize, I won't pronounce this right, Hurțăneau, declined to comment on his exchange with Grenell. His spokesperson said Hurțăneau initiated the meeting. His spokesperson, is that Grenell's spokesperson or Emil's? Said Hurțăneau initiated the meeting and that they had, quote, known each other for a long time as they had both served as ambassadors in Berlin during the first Trump presidency. Oh, it's one of Rick's buddies. I need Tina. Where's Tina? Tina knows Romania. She knows Rick Grenell. Where's Tina? Tina, oh Tina, tell us about this Emil Hurțăneau, please. Thank you. I'm gonna go. I'll look after the broadcast. Yeah, we need some Tina in this bitch. God damn it, you guys. We're shaking down governments. We're doing shit that is actually, it has to be unconstitutional. It has to be. Yeah, I know. The Supreme Court, blah, blah, blah. Fuck the Supreme Court. The spokesperson did not comment on their specific discussions, but said, quote, Romanian courts are independent and operate based on the law. There is due process. Well, apparently, oops. Grenell said he had no substantive conversation with Hurțăneau. We talked about knitting, whom he denied knowing. Whoopsie. Hurțăneau just said that you guys are biffles. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. You better get your stories straight, bitches. Okay, because you don't have your stories straight. Our Constitution requires nothing with respect to respecting foreign law. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. All right. Fair enough. Okay, crack on. He saw me in the hallway in Munich and asked for a meeting, but there was no other follow-up encounter, Grenell said. We did not share vodka shots over at the Bunny Lounge. I was not there. Grenell said, I support the Tate brothers as evident by my publicly available tweets. If you want to know what I think, check my Twitter. This month, Grenell wrote on X that Romania was, quote, the latest example of how funds dispersed by the USAID had been, quote, weaponized against people and politicians who were not woke. The Trump administration has slashed USA, and actually basically everybody's fired. We just watched it, so fast forward. Boop. And here's Rick now. The USAID programs were weaponized against blah, blah, blah. The Biden team spent U.S. taxpayer money to support left-wing programs and candidates around the world. Conservatives around the world were targeted. Oh, you know what this reminds me of, and what I think this probably is a little bit more of anything else? I think those are, whoops. Oh, no, is this not going to work? I think those are feelings, Rick. I think you have feelings. I'll put the link again in there. I'll put the link to this in there. Anyway, so yeah. Tristan Tate has called on supporters to find out if any USAID went to Romania to fund any particular lawfare-based investigations. Wink, wink. In an apparent reference to his and his brother's own cases. Absolutely. The Tate brothers have millions of online followers in the manosphere. They really do. I wish I could find that one clip really easily of them like riding on ATVs at their like man summit. They have a man summit, like a little incel boot camp that they run. And they have these girls on bikinis riding ATVs with them. And that's how they enter like the survivor based kind of incel training camp. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I watch it so you don't have to, okay? Okay. Holy fuck. Tucker Carlson, wait. In the manosphere, online platforms targeted at young men that promote male superiority and reject feminism and promote, like, rape, which played a role in Trump's reelection. Yes, it did. Thank you, Theo Vaughn. I don't know what anybody's doing. Tucker Carlson, a Trump ally and former Fox anchor, has carried out sympathetic interviews with both brothers, calling on viewers to make up their own mind. Oh, I did. Oh, Tucker. Oh, I've made up my mind. Thank you so much. Might be a different conclusion than you have, but I have made up my mind. Tristan Tate boasted on X in November about the brothers' role in the U.S. election, claiming millions of young men in Europe and the USA have a healthy right-wing approach to politics that they would not have if Andrew Tate had never appeared on their phone screens. Do. That's what I saw when you said FT. I'm like, entertainment tonight. Do. Anyway, the UK is also seeking the brothers' extradition. Good luck, Keir. Keir's at the White House right now, right? Isn't he? I kind of like Keir Starmer. Are we supposed to like him? No, I'm just kidding. Is he nice? God, my hair is just like in my mouth. Blech. I got a hair on my tongue, Jerry. It's got your name on it. Do you remember that Seinfeld thing? I love certain parts of Seinfeld, but I can't stand Jerry Seinfeld. But I just thought that was always a great line. I got a hair on my tongue, Jerry. It's got your name on it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Woo, I'm getting a little loopy. All right, the UK is seeking extradition. A Romanian court ruled last year that they can be extradited once there is a final decision in their case in Romania. Oh, so stand in line. Separate civil lawsuit was filed last week by a woman in Florida, which alleged the brothers coerced her into sex work after having lured her to Romania and accused them of defaming her after she testified against them in Bucharest. The pair have recently secured a legal victory in Romania after an appeals court sent their case back to prosecutors. They were also released from house arrest, but are not allowed to leave the country. Fun fact, now they are. Now they're in our country because they just landed in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I do wonder who's playing butterflies. The Tate brothers remain fully dedicated, although they have a lot of money. The Tate brothers remain fully dedicated to working alongside their legal team to explore every legal avenue within the framework of Romania's judicial system, the brothers said in a written statement. Their sole focus is ensuring the due process is followed and that their innocence is established in a court of law. U.S. Vice President, we're going to give them asylum. You realize that. Vice President J.D. Vance last week lashed out at Romanian authorities for annulling a presidential election. Oh, that's right. That's right. As an example, we read about this. Romania pulled down their election because of disinformation and weaponized by the Russian government to interfere in their election. They were very bold and very naughty, and now they're being humiliated, chastised, and the other things. Oh, the money dirty? Absolutely. Absolutely, Lee. Absolutely. And then they've got this stupid, summer camp for incels, which is dumb and probably isn't that much. Oh, I love Val's video. Oh, that's nice. Hi, Paulina. I'm so sorry. God, man, Florida. It's like Broligarch trash can. They put all the trashy Broligarchs there. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I thought Tate was running for UK. Well, he probably will now. Well, actually, we have to get rid of Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, please do not drink tea or go near any windows. Please. Here. Don't put it past him to do something really stupid, okay? Please. Just be careful. Don't shake hands. Don't shake hands. All right. J.D. Vance lashed out at Romanian authorities, for annulling the presidential election as an example of an alleged crackdown on right-wing politicians threatening Europe's democracy, quote, from within. Yeah, we did probably give him a better offer. The country's constitutional court in December said it took an unprecedented step because the electoral process had been flawed by a highly sophisticated social media campaign, disinformation, suspected of having been coordinated by Moscow, and disinformation that warps the minds of low information, typically, voters, or those who are complicit. It's pretty simple. You either don't know you're on the table as the meal, or you're eating the meal. It's not hard. It's just not hard. Okay. Vance said the vote cancellation was based on, quote, flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors, Europe, EU. The U.S. vice president's criticism was seen as vindication by the far-right candidate who topped the canceled vote, Călin Georgescu, who plans to run again in a May rerun. So we've got May reruns of the Romanian elections that we need to be watching for as well. His campaign chief's home was raided by police last week after Georgescu declared having spent zero money on his election campaign. He didn't spend any money. Everything was free. If criminal proceedings are brought against him, the Constitutional Court could dismiss his bid for the presidency. Oh, they've got a lot riding on the line here then. There's a lot riding on the line. Mario Nawful? Mario Awful? Wow, man, that guy just stepped right up. Georgescu was interviewed on Sunday by another manosphere influencer, Mario Schifferbrains, who described him on X as Romania's rightful president. Oh, Mario, showing your true colors. Whoop, whoop. Who risked being barred from running. The exact playbook they tried against Trump. Rah, 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 rah. I'm mad, see? Yikes. Let me see. There's a couple things I would really like to read before I let you go about your business. Is this the one? Oh, yeah. I want to read this. Oops, this is the wrong. Where's my screen? Oh, I didn't do it right. It's my problem. I'm sorry. Okay. This came out last night. And I want to read this. You're either at the table or on the menu. Yeah. I'm afraid a lot of us are on the menu to some degree. Paul Manafort did a podcast right before the election that I want to go back and watch. Very open about how they can't lose, et cetera, and why. We are like a country, what? they've interfered in. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what number of country we are that they've interfered in. That would be interesting, SB. If you find a link, it'd be great I'd love to listen to that. That would be really good. That would be really good. Probably be easy to find. Consider on the table and on the menu. Yeah, exactly. Right, there you go. Just a more expansive. Yes, just thank you. Well said. Just a question of time and appetite. And convenience and, whatever. All right, so I wanted to read this. Trump administration memo orders Pentagon to identify and fire transgender members of the U.S. military. Memo says service by these individuals is not in the best interests of the military in Trump's latest attack on trans rights. So this is what another piece that we've all been screaming about, which is the disappearing of entire groups of people and identities. And that to me is just the antithesis of freedom. I don't understand how any of the chuds or any of the freedom fighters can possibly think that this is something that is indicative of a free country. Because apparently you can't be who you are. You are unsafe being who you are. Imagine that. Imagine that for a moment, Chudleys. Imagine it's unsafe to be you. Just you. Nothing you've done. Nothing you've done. You haven't hurt anyone. Just you. Just who you are. Just imagine what that might feel like. I know it might be hard. It might be hard to imagine that. Or you might misconstrue reactions to your bigotry as oppression. That happens too. So I get that. But imagine for a moment that those weren't really the case. Whoa. I don't know what I'm doing here. Sorry, I got distracted by weed. Because that's what's happening. I mean, it doesn't matter. First of all, trans people have been around since time began. So get over yourselves with your weird hate and bigotry for people who just exist and have always existed. Whether or not you have chosen to see them is another question. And that I might proffer is the question that you should be asking yourself is why didn't you see them before, and why do they suddenly present such a problem? And furthermore, I hear you exclaim sometimes, "Oh, my cousin's daughter is trans and I love her. So I'm not against trans people. I just don't want it, name your poison, in my face, in our schools, mutilated, blah, whatever, fill in the blank." Well, that's misinformation and disinformation, again, that have corrupted what the reality is about life for transgender individuals. Yes, just because it's something that you may not understand doesn't mean you shouldn't stand up and defend their right to exist and live and work and serve just like you. This is like disappearing entire groups of people who are our neighbors. They work at the post office. They are, city attorneys. They are mayors. They are grocery clerks. They, they're your neighbor. They are us. They are us. We are us. Period. So get over it. And start really stand up. Because, and if they came for me, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? How fucking dare you? That poem means a lot, and that they're really trying to just fucking. This is just aggression. This is aggression, and no one should be in favor of that. No one. No one. That's not freedom. All right. I'm stopped lecturing because I would like to read this article to you. The Trump administration has moved to fire transgender members of the military, with the Defense Department issuing a memo saying that they will be separated from service unless they receive an exemption. The document filed in court Wednesday represents the latest salvo against transgender rights by Donald Trump and his defense secretary, Pete Hold My Beer Hegseth, both of whom have a history of opposition to the group, and aka they're bigots, and vowed to roll back their participation in government. And the reason we call people bigots and racists is because those are words that are used to describe who they are. So in English, we use the words that are assigned to help identify what your worldview is. So I'm sorry, it's a you problem, not an us problem. Military service, this is a quote, military service by service members and applicants for the military who have a current diagnosis, or history of, or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria are incompatible with military service, the memo says. That's Nazi shit. That is Nazi shit. Right there. Period. Man, just please pull your head out of your ass for one fucking minute and think, wow, could I possibly be wrong about my position on this? Could it be that actually what's happening to people is absolutely wrong? If I claim to love people for who they are, regardless of who they are, and in the same breath, I support this type of activity, I don't support people for who they are. That's the lie. You got to do some soul searching. Service by these individuals is not in the best interest, blah, 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 blah. The memo follows Trump's signing of an executive order in January that took aim at transgender troops in a personal way, describing them as not consistent with the humility and selflessness required of a service member. This man is evil. This man is objectively evil. And his surrounding people that write these things for him, because frankly, he doesn't fucking have these thoughts. He wouldn't find those words. Earlier this month, the Pentagon had said that the U.S. military would no longer allow transgender individuals to join and would stop performing or facilitating procedures associated with gender transition for service members. In announcing the policy, Hegseth said people with gender dysphoria already in the military would be treated with dignity and respect. Well, hold my beer. Wednesday's late evening memo went further. It said that the Pentagon must create a procedure to identify troops who are transgender within 30 days, and then within 30 days of that, must start to separate them from the military. It is the policy of the United States government to establish high standards for service members' readiness, lethality, cohesion, honesty, humility, uniformity, and integrity, the memo said. This policy is inconsistent with the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals with gender dysphoria or who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria. The Defense Department said waivers would be granted only provided there is compelling government interest in retaining the service member that directly supports warfighting capabilities. There's no requirement for transgender troops to self-identify, and the department does not have a precise number. It's a witch hunt, yeah. Yeah, a witch hunt. The military has about 1.3 million active duty personnel, according to Pentagon data. Transgender rights advocates say there are as many as 15,000 transgender service members. Officials say the number is in the low thousands. The move, which goes further than restrictions placed on transgender service members during his first administration, was described as unprecedented by advocates. The scope and severity of this ban is unprecedented. It is a complete purge of all transgender individuals from military service, said Shannon Minter of the National Center for Lesbian Rights. The memo was filed in court as part of a lawsuit brought by NCLR and GLAAD Law. The suit challenges the constitutionality of the January executive order and argues that it violates the equal protection component of the Fifth Amendment. Where's the memo? Did they link the memo? I apologize. I know, Gal, let me catch up. Gal says, I'm hoping to stand with a sign at the front gate of the military base in the rush hour morning for all military personnel to see tomorrow morning as a reminder for people to stand up for their trans teammates. Yes. I think my sign will just say, patriotism knows no gender. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Gal says, here's the thing. That memo has a very big number, and there are not that many trans people in the military. So who's next or who's included? That's a good point. Like, this is just again, this is a boondoggle, right? We know this. We know this is a boondoggle and a way to just punish people and create fear, right? Creates fear and control. So I would imagine this is kind of the, I would be interested in some historical perspectives on this particular phase of activities. I think I would find that of some interest. The order said develop a mechanism to detect. Oh my God, this is just gross. And I think I fear what you do, Gal, which is people will turn, quote, turn each other in. You know what I mean? And wow. Wow, there's a lot of opening the door for hate and violence. How in the world was this a good idea? Jesus Christ. I think people really have to do soul searching. I think and that this should be the moment where if you were on the right, that you rethink that position and you go, no, I'm not going to stand by and let people be completely disappeared. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. Yeah, that's what they want. And that's very scary and wrong to do inside of your military force, which has a huge responsibility of protecting us. Why in the world would you want to create some kind of chaotic environment within your fighting force? Your folks who have to be ready to run and be shot at and bombed and droned. Why would you do that to people that you claim you support? Because do you not think that this just creates chaos and confusion for the people who are not transgender? Because it undoubtedly does. And they may not even realize the level of stress that they're under as a result of their teammates being targeted and expunged, or expelled rather, and just removed, just for being who they are, by the way. Again, I'm going to say that. Just for being who they are. Okay. Like, that's going to cause stress on those folks too, because when you have massive change and uprooting like that in an organization, this is straight up organizational development. If you want to be corporate about it, this is fucking straight up organizational development and change management. This is not the way you do things. If you care about the people that you're making change against, or for, or however you want to justify it, that's not how you do it. And that's pretty fucking standard thinking. I didn't go to grad school for that. It's pretty common sense. And it's pretty basic organizational development. My God. That's so dumb. This is so dumb. Yeah, this is human and healthcare. This is, yeah. Yeah, they really think someone can turn their children. I know. And that's another thing. God damn it. Leave the fucking schools alone. I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody who ran a high school, I did not have fucking time to worry about influencing anyone's view of their gender. Now, I did, however, and we did create an environment where you could express your gender in any way that you wanted. So we didn't police gender, and we provided a social worker and counselors for all of our students and had a thriving gay-straight alliance and encouraged an open and loving environment where everyone was welcome. And guess what? We achieved it. Our school was consistently rated at the highest for student perception of safety and parents' perception of their students' safety while at school, and support for emotional health and other things, because that's the way you should do it. That's not a lefty position, okay? That's just not. I don't even understand where right left enters into that. That's common sense. So, I mean, I get it that people are whatever, you're threatened by something, or it's different, or you're jealous, or I don't know what it is. But you need to the chuds need to get the fuck over themselves. All right? Get the fuck over yourselves. I'd like to learn more historical data around how general strikes change the course of a government. That would be really interesting. We were talking a little bit about that in Discord this morning, I think. How did they start, right? Like, where's the momentum gain? I was wondering that myself. Is there a tipping point? Is there a tipping point when it becomes such a national wave, right? You're growing up confident kids. I want a kid to be confident in who they are, regardless of who they are. Because guess what? A confident person is healthier, is happier. I just, it's not that hard. I mean, it's really not. You know what, that one caring adult thing, if you ever read about that kind of research that's done on adults and teen development, youth development, one caring adult can absolutely change the course of a child's life. Absolutely fucking proven. Yeah, always organically. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of groups organizing. I'm going to go to a protest on Saturday here in Los Angeles that is the March for Immigration. And so I'm hoping that is big and that they start to get bigger, when it starts to get bigger. So I just hope it continues to grow. But I do wonder if is there a point at which they've gone too far? And that's oversimplifying it. It's oversimplifying it. But I do wonder if there's a point at which collectively, and I use that term loosely, but is there a collective point where the country goes, this can no longer be ignored? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't really know what I'm saying. As usual. Governor Pritzker, who said how many days it took for Nazis to take over recently. That's right. We listened to that little bit of a soundbite, didn't we, Jane? Where the Illinois governor was talking about how quickly the Nazis reformed certain parts of their society and how quickly that happened. Baby steps to the revolution. It will be the repetition and consistency in direct action. I agree with that. I agree. I'd like us to beat that deadline. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Collective would need access to similarly credible information. That's a very good point. Jeez. First ones will be small, but must continue to try and more will join. I believe so. I really do. I believe that's true. And there's and there's some in our society with far more on the line. And that's, of course, they're leading the charge, and certainly in Los Angeles, right? The children of immigrants themselves, undocumented people who support, all that. That's been the first people on the street, the kid, the youth. And so I hope it just grows and grows and grows. I do believe in protest. I believe protest changes things. I think it does. It needs a combination of effort, scale, and luck. But I really do believe that it is And we saw in Iowa this morning fighting for transgender rights. That was wonderful. And that's in Iowa, where you don't necessarily expect large scale. Of course, Iowa is perfectly representative of all communities. So just because we don't expect it of Iowa doesn't mean that there's strong representation there and strong caring in that community about their neighbors and their friends and their family members. So clearly that's the case in Iowa, a more typically conservative place. Yeah, if you live in a red state, also I'm going to try that trick that what was it? It wasn't I think it was Stephanie LB Lincoln's Bible said that she calls them at night and leaves a message because they just record it as a message even though you may not live in that district. So I'm going to try that. I want to try calling some after hours. Oh, sentence. Oh yeah, Resistance Sentinel. Do we have a new Resistance Sentinel today yet? Or that might be later, huh? Hold on. Let me see what's going on. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Boop, boop. Mm-mm-mm. Oh my God. I put up that movie that I made about Bob Kim yesterday. And I tagged Bob Kim in it. And he liked the post. So we're showing all our heroes and we're encouraging all of our heroes, you guys. And I think that's also part of the resistance. Encourage your heroes. It's really important. The Resistance Sentinel said I said the pedos on Twitter really want to see the Epstein files. And 5GW says the obsession is weird. And then the Resistance Sentinel comes in and says it's taking so long because they're scrubbing Trump's name. That's funny. I like humor. All right, here we go. Little Resistance Sentinel. We're going to do our little Resistance Sentinel check. Resistance Sentinel. Checking for you every day. Doing the work. Da 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 da. Oh man. Oh, here, I'll just go to this. I'll go to the sub snack. Let's go to the snack. Let's go to the snack. Let's go to the snack. King free since 1776. 1776, baby. I definitely think so. Support those trying to be brave and lend them some steel for their spin. Yes. Let them know they have support. I think it is scary. I would want to hear it. Oh no, I won't. I'm actually going to skip. I just wanted to get a feel for what it was like yesterday. That's no problem. And then now I have an idea in my head of, how it's structured. So I don't have to go through the whole thing. Doggy, so EO disappeared from what? Wait, what? The doggy EO disappeared from presidential actions page overnight. Uh-oh. Did the web page just fail? Maybe. Maybe somebody didn't pay the web. Maybe they didn't pay the Wix. Not the January 21st one. Oh, okay. But one from this week. Oh, you know what? I'm mad at myself. I haven't checked the EOs in a couple days. The rest are there. Oh, that's so interesting. Why? What was in that one? What was in that one specifically? You blue skied about it? Oh, man. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Oh, jeez. What? I recognize that flower. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. So, hold on. Bleep. Bleep. Okay, so actually this one looks pretty significant. Each agency shall build a centralized payment and tracking system with a pause switch for the director with help from their assigned political officer and other features, and maybe another for the travel payments and transparency. Woo! Now with more electrolytes. Damn. Oh, High Representative Vice President Kaya Kallas in Washington, D.C. What's that? Fireside chat with Hudson Institute. Oh. Oop, oop. Oopsie poopsie. Hey, why won't you go back? Oh. Okay. All right. Wow. Shit. Oh, I wonder. Hey, wait a minute, though. I have a dumb idea. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to go back to this for a minute, but hold on. I want to check over here. I just want to check one thing. I'm trying to do something here. I'll take 55 burgers, 55 fries. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Why are you so big? Stop it. Oh, the archive is forever. Oh, the archive is forever. Oh, you have it on the Federal Register? Well, we're going to have to bookmark this baby. There it is. This is the original order that's no longer on the website. The order commences a transformation in federal spending on contracts, grants, and loans to ensure government spending is transparent and government employees are accountable to the American public. Oh, that's not it? What? Oh, dated 2/25. Well, what's this one then? I have it. The FR link isn't. Oh, the Federal Register link isn't. Okay. Yes, I see. Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. Got you. Okay. So this is the transformation of the payment system. Administrator. Oh, we know who the administrator is now, right? Word's hard. Yeah. No, I know what's happening. That's really nice of you to say words hard. I understand. No, it's not you. It's not a you problem. It's a me problem. I shared on my face bag with my mom, Sentinel. Oh, yeah, cool, Paul. All right, so let me just quickly. So administrator, I can't remember the name of the woman they said was the Doge administrator or doggy administrator, but whatever. Okay, so doggy administrator is that. Okay, fine. Doggy team lead, agency head. Covered contracts means discretionary spending through federal contracts, grants, loans, and related instruments, but excludes direct assistance to individuals, expenditures related to immigration enforcement, law enforcement, the military, public safety, and the intelligence community. Oh, interesting. Huh. So not those people, just everybody else. Section 3. Okay. Here we go. Cutting costs to save taxpayers' money. Each agency head shall, with assistance requested from the doggy team, build a centralized technological system within the... We're going to build new systems? How is this saving us money? Oh, the definitions are important too. Let's see. To seamlessly record every payment issued by the agency pursuant to each of the agency's covered contracts and grants, along with a brief written justification for each payment. Yeah, Section 3 is the operation. I understand. So basically, they're adding a new system and a new procedure to an already existing system that probably has notations on the purpose and coding that indicates the purpose. It might be flawed, but that's not this thing. You don't add a new system on top of it to then reorganize your flawed system. You fix the flawed system. This is just control. This is interception of money. This is diverting it to someone's pocket. That's what I think. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a girl. Okay. Let's see. Okay. within the agency to seamlessly record every payment issued by the agency pursuant to the along with a brief written justification. And the agency employee, or by the agency employee who approved the payment. This system shall include a mechanism for the agency head to pause and rapidly review. Thankfully, my family's not MAGA. Aw, hi, Paul J. I know, mine neither. Thank goodness. I think that would be really hard. My heart really breaks for families that are so separated by this. Rapidly review any payment for which the approving employee has not submitted a brief written justification. Once the system described in this subsection is in place, the agency head shall issue guidance to require that the relevant agency employee promptly submit a brief written justification prior to that employee's approval of a payment under covered contracts and grants, subject to any exceptions. To the maximum extent permitted by law and the maximum extent deemed practicable by the agency head, the payment justifications described in subsection shall be posted publicly. Well, that's fine. Review of covered contracts and grants. Each agency head in consultation with the doggy team shall review all existing covered contracts and, where appropriate and consistent, terminate or modify, including through renegotiation, such covered contracts and grants to reduce overall federal spending and reallocate spending to promote efficiency. In consultation with the doggy team lead shall review, so they're going to review all their contracts. This is so stupid. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Did this guy, he didn't go to like Stanford or anything, right? I mean, Musk, he didn't like, isn't he one of those like garage guys? I invented it in my garage. I pulled it out of my ass. Each agency has a teenage political officer now. Consult with your bro. Each agency will now have its own bro that you can consult with to see if what you're doing would be Musk approved. I don't know where he went. I was just wondering if he did, because I feel like I only went to Stanford for 3 weeks, but I still learned more than this guy seems to have learned. Anyway, sorry. I digress. Following the review specified and prior to entering into new contracts, this is all kinds of new work for people. They have to consult with Doggy, with their teen bro. They gotta have a huddle. They got to huddle with their bro. He got given an Ivy League degree. He dropped out, stayed illegally. Oh, Jane, that's right. Okay, I get it. Okay, basically they're gonna just shit can all the contracts. Okay, but this is the one they pulled off the website. This is a clandestine copy of that EO that's been pulled off the website. The website's been scrubbed. He got what? He went for 3 weeks? Did he go for 3 weeks? Oh, I went for 3 weeks. Oh, it was a program for nonprofit leaders through the business school at at Stanford. It was a great program and I loved it. It was competitive. But to get in, but I enjoyed it. It was good. But I don't have a master's degree, so I can't claim that. I did, however, get a sweatshirt so I could lie to myself. To reply to my blusks with the Wayback link. Oh, wait, what? Reply to one of my... Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. We should probably download like a PDF of it, too, or something like that. I guess. I don't know. Where is blue sky? Where is the blue sky? What do I do with it? Oh, it's over here. Sorry. Nope, wrong one. There it is. Found it. Wait, is there something funnier I can say? Per your request. I Blumpkin streamed on that. That's right, your Blumpkin stream. Go to my Blumpkin stream and please reply. I am on the Blumpkin stream. I like that much better. Here it is. Oh, damn, I missed it. Is news light today? I slept in and haven't watched anything too much fun last night. Paul J. Paul J. Hello. This is you. This is your liver calling. Hello, Paul J. What the fuck are you doing? All right, we're gonna jump around the. Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's light. I wouldn't call it light at all, actually. But you know, that happens. You know. Okay, so this is the Resistance Sentinel for today. Hey, oh, this is my favorite. Actually, this is a little too big, isn't it? Back up. Jasmine Crockett is speaking truth to power. Okay, she is doing a very incredible job of representing her constituents and all of us. And I could not appreciate her more, as I know that you do. And here she is telling us exactly what we need to know. Wait, let me see if I can. I can't. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller because you have to see kind of the whole thing. She's on Blumbleskin here. Just try. Okay, here we go. Okay, never mind.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it. If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it. If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Representative Crockett. Hold on, I need to cough. It is. This is fine, right? This is fine. This is fine, right? That's fine, right? All right, here we go. Civil society. Let's see. Working people across the U.S. We'll read the summaries. Working people across the U.S. have organized 104 actions in 31 states to protest against Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency's doggy mass firing of federal workers and more. These nationwide demonstrations represent growing resistance against cuts to essential government services that millions of Americans depend on, including Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and Veterans Affairs benefits. Let's see. The working people held grassroots events through the Department of People Who Work for a Living to protest against Elon Musk's and Doggy's actions targeting federal workers. As Congress members spent their time in districts, workers organized 104 actions. Ah, beautiful. Why it matters. Protests highlight growing organized resistance against what workers perceive as attacks on essential government services that millions of Americans rely on. Hell yeah. And so there'll be links in here. This will be at the top of the description box. I'm going to put the resistance link at the top of the description in the video for today. So if you come back, you'll get, hopefully it'll start to be in the same place every time so you can find it easily. Or obviously it's on Bumbleskin. Wait, what are we calling it? Blumpkin stream. Blumpkin stream. That's my favorite thing for today. Okay, let's see. Protests against Trump administration. Okay, NIH funding. Widespread protests have emerged across the United States in response to both the administration's policies and controversial behavior. Scientists in Seattle have protested Trump's freeze on NIH grant money that threatens $1.3 billion in Washington state biomedical research, warning that these policies would severely impact research budgets nationwide. Meanwhile, Tesla is experiencing significant sales declines, with European sales falling 45% in January, and California sales dropping 12% last year as consumers reject the brand following Musk's controversial political activities like a takeover, including making gestures resembling a Nazi salute at Trump's inauguration. Tesla showrooms have been vandalized in the Netherlands, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, with weekend protests staged at dozens of the company stores across the U.S. Well, guess what? So there was a dinosaur there, too. Hi, are you guys fighting? Please don't fight. Don't fight. I mean, I know it's play fighting, but it's just upsetting. Let's see. Eric and Chenoweth and Zoe Marks have noted building a large-scale, multiracial, cross-class pro-democracy united front is essential for contesting authoritarian trends, with protests serving as crucial flashpoints for building resilient movements. The widespread nature of these demonstrations, from university campuses to Tesla showrooms, illustrates how diverse segments of society are fighting for democratic values rather than merely resisting, potentially forming the foundation for a broader pro-democracy coalition. I love it. Put that in my veins. Let's see. This 21 of the employees of U.S. Digital Service, comprising about 1/3 of the remaining staff, resigned on Tuesday rather than continue working under Elon Musk's doggy team. These resignations follow earlier termination notices sent to approximately 1/3 of the agency's staff on February 14th. In their joint resignation letter addressed to White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, the former employees, who previously held senior roles at tech companies like Google and Amazon, stated they could no longer honor their commitments to serve the American people under Doggy's leadership. Hell yeah. It's brave. It's really brave. I mean, I think speaking out is going to get more and more difficult, rather. God, man, I can't speak today. Legal and Judicial. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor, that's right, has sued the Trump administration to unfreeze over $2 billion in federal funding allocated to Pennsylvania agencies, challenging what he describes as an unlawful funding freeze that impacts critical environmental and social programs. A federal judge has extended a block on President Trump's federal funding freeze, describing the administration's actions as irrational, imprudent, and precipitated a nationwide crisis, while criticizing contradictory messaging from the White House. There's more on that. Okay, here we go. 2 Philadelphia lawmakers walked out of a meeting with University of Pennsylvania President Larry Jameson on February 25th after a university administrator referred to diversity as a lightning rod. State Senator Art Haywood and Representative Napoleon Nelson left the 90-minute meeting early, with Haywood describing it as bullshit. Other officials, including City Council member Jamie Gauthier and State Senator Anthony Williams, criticized Penn for abandoning its founding values by removing dozens of DEI initiatives, programs, and committees from its website in response to President Trump's executive orders. Penn cited an existential threat, including a potential $250 million reduction in federal research funding. Do you not think they're going to cut it anyway, you stupid fucking greedy bastards? God. Oh my God. You're like the guy that did cocaine in Die Hard and went and tried to talk to Hans. Jesus. Which has already led to 35% cuts in graduate admissions at its medical school. This is going to kill the brain. This is a brain drain like we have never seen before. They are going after the universities. They're going after University of Maine because the Maine governor stood up to Trump in his face. So he punished her and now launched an investigation into grants made to University of Maine. This is as beginning of authoritarianism in your butt as it gets. And it doesn't end well for anyone except the rich people. Wake up. God, it needs to be over quick. I mean, and that's just not, it's fascism. Come on. You want things to be different? Oh, trust me, they're going to be different. We're not going to go back to what it was. And for some, that, in some ways, that'll be good. But a lot of people are going to die and suffer in the process. So that's why we need to get as much mobilization as is possible. And I don't have all the answers, so I apologize. I don't mean to sound preachy at all. That's not my intention. I'm just really, I don't want there to be so much fear and suffering and actual, death and incarceration, Like I want that to be over. I want that part to be over. And then we can build a more perfect union. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I want it to be more perfect. I want all the boats to lift. I really do. And I want disinformation to be labeled as such. And I want opinion to be labeled as such. And I want people to be represented in their governing systems so that there's many voices, and that the perfect is not the enemy of the good. I want all those things, so I mean, it's not, I don't think that's right or left. I think that's just human. Meow. Penn's actions reflect a concerning trend of institutions preemptively dismantling diversity programs, despite legal experts noting Trump's executive orders lack the full legal weight. Yeah, it's complying in advance. And it's incredibly dangerous for institutions to do that. Blumpkin Stream temporarily removed a viral AI-generated protest video showing Trump and Musk in an explicit scene, while billionaire Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos announces a new editorial policy for the paper. Which it's not funny, but there's just something so fucking ridiculous about it that it makes me sad laugh. I'm going to call it that. Blumpkin. I have to look at it every time. I have to look at the word every time. All right, Blumpkin Stream. Blue Sky deleted a viral AI. Oh, oops, I shared that. No, I didn't. A viral AI-generated protest video showing Donald Trump sucking Elon Musk's toes that was broadcast on televisions inside the Housing and Urban Development Office as an act of protest. Beautiful resistance. Art as resistance. Independent. I wish it wasn't AI, but whatever. You could have made like an animation. I'm just kidding. Collage animation. Independent journalist Marissa Cabas, who obtained and shared the video, challenged the deletion, arguing it was legitimate news in the public interest documenting protest against what she called the fascist regime. After the story gained attention, Blue Sky reversed its decision, acknowledging they had applied their non-consensual AI content policy too strictly without considering the newsworthy context. Okay, that's fair. Meanwhile, the Washington Post has faced criticism regarding its coverage of the Trump administration, raising concerns about corporate media's role in covering political power. Yep. These concerns were heightened when billionaire owner Jeff Bezos announced a new editorial policy for the paper to emphasize individual and economic freedom. Freedom! Seen by many as code for right-leaning culture, values, and policies. As a result, the paper's opinion page editor resigned. That's right. He said, "Get out of here, duck." International resistance. What happened? A small group of American citizens gathered outside the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv to protest the Trump administration's bilateral negotiations with Russia that sidelined Ukraine. Demonstrators, including Gregory Huey, Eddie E2, and Bill Cole, expressed dismay at Trump's refusal to name Russia as the aggressor and his growing relationship with Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, in Canada, coffee shops have renamed Americano drinks as Canadianos to protest Trump's tariffs and annexation rhetoric, while Canadian flag sales have surged from 1 to approximately 300 daily at one Nova Scotia shop. And that's saying something, because there's, Nova Scotia's not a lot of people. I mean, it is a lot of people. Not a lot, though. 300? What? Who's buying them? Let's see. The VFW commander has publicly criticized the Trump, and that's Veterans of Foreign Wars. VFW national commander has publicly criticized the Trump, Musk, and Doggy administration for arbitrarily firing veterans and other federal workers. In an unusual move for a leader of a major veterans service organization, he has called on VFW members from around the country to join him when he testifies, before a joint session of the Congressional Committees on Veterans Affairs on March 4th. We will. This public stance represents a significant break from the typically nonpartisan positioning of veterans organizations. Oh, and just want to break while I'm thinking of it. If there's any Canadians in the chat, is there any news sources you want me to look at with current, like, is there a live thing about the election? Anything I need to know about the election, if there is anything that we want to share, just let me know. Or non-Canadians too, but I blumpkined. That's what I'm going to say. It's blumpkined. You're right. Blumpkined. That's easier for me to remember. Okay, bye, Take care. See you later. Let's see. The VFW National Commander. Okay. The public stance represents a significant break from the typically nonpartisan positioning of veterans organizations. That's very good. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. We need to read this. The Republican-led government is facing a potential historic shutdown by March 14th if budget legislation isn't passed, which would be unprecedented for a party controlling both chambers of Congress and the White House. Wow. House Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing a framework. Of course, we just know that passed. Meanwhile, Republican Representatives Rich McCormick and Cliff Bentz are returning to Capitol Hill after facing angry constituents at town halls with concerns about the doggy and its rapid implementation of affecting government benefits. Good. About fucking time. Mark Alford, as reported by Midas Touch. Let's see. Oh, can I not do it? Oh, it's not. It's just a picture. Oh, no, it's not. Here we go.
Contracts with the federal government. But
Mark
he
Alford
is also, I think, doing an effective job.
Conflict of interest! Show me!
There are a lot of people who don't want to see waste, abuse, and fraud weeded out. Some of them here today.
I don't want him in charge of it.
But he is appointed by the president, the chief executive, who can appoint whoever he can appoint you.
I thought it was your job. It is your job.
Elon Musk and the president have agreed that if there is any potential conflict of interest,
It is your job.
and it's clear today that some people don't believe that would happen. And that's okay.
It is your job.
In the next election, to elect someone that you believe.
We didn't elect Elon.
Remember your oath. I gotta go. Don't scare me. No, it's got to be hard to be a Republican these days. I mean, really. I need to find. I'm looking for town halls because I don't know how to. I guess I just need to get on the mailing list of all the little local Congress people. Even the Republican ones that because like. Oh my God, I don't even know who our congressperson is now. I can't remember who took Adam Schiff's place. I'm just like drawing a blank. Alejandro Caraballo says, and speaking of literal vulnerabilities and exposures, we present without comment. This has to be one of the biggest OPSEC fails I've ever seen in my life. The actual director of the FBI driving around the most conspicuous vehicle imaginable, made even more so by being neon red. Look who I spotted driving into D.C. this morning. And yes, it was him. The FBI director drives around in a fire engine red Cybertruck with custom plates. Cash 009. Wow. That's crazy. Actions. There's the AOC tech Blumpkind about the it's so tacky. It's okay. Those things blow up. I'm just telling you. I've seen it. They do. They combust. I'm not actually making that as a joke or anything. I'm just saying those cars blow up. I don't know why people buy them. Let's see. I know. This was nice. Friday, 2/28, nationwide economic blackout. So an economic blackout, shop local. If you do, it says. So do that. And I say do as much as you can. Be as noisy as you can. Let's see. There's a lot of links about the boycott. This is great. Actually, that's really good. So for those of you, I know there's healthy skepticism about one-day actions and things like that. And I think that's all good kind of dialogue for people to have, right? And as long as people find ways for themselves to be engaged and to be, however it works, right? Like I said, I don't know where I was when I said it, but, lifting up voices that you don't think are getting a lot of play. And I'm not talking about me. I'm really not. I'm talking about there's lots of people out there who have really good takes on what's happening to us. And I always find stuff that you all have shared, for example, about things that, that I should be taking a look at, people I should be following, all that kind of good stuff. So lifting up those voices, it matters, Because then we lift up a voice. Maybe somebody else sees that person lifting up the other voice and then lifts it to a higher audience, gets it out to more eyeballs. You know, that can be really fucking powerful. So don't discount anything that you are able to do. You know, and obviously take the risks that you want to take that are comfortable for you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out in a big crowd. I hope it's a big crowd anyway. My mom's let me know she shopped yesterday instead of her typical day to support the shopping ban. What a love. Thank you, Jane's mama. Here's to the mamas. You guys are awesome. And Canadian, but it's happening. It's Nana. Oh. I love her. Thank you, Jane's mama. You're wonderful. Hell yeah, girl. Hell yeah. Resist, baby. Resist, sexy mama. All right. I am going to go ahead and leave you. I've wasted enough of your time this morning. Look at waste, fraud, and abuse right there. Right there in front of us. Clear as day. Get out of here. Yes, here's to Jane and her mom. Yes, love. Love, love, love. A local I know used to say, don't shoot yourself shy. Don't shoot yourself shy. I can't even say that. I would not be that local saying that. My mom taught me to stand up for people. Oh, gal. I intend to continue to honor that. Yeah. I can't wait to see pictures of you from tomorrow, gal. Be safe, gal. Please be safe out there. Please. A lot of people need you. Just be safe. Keep your head on a swivel, girl. One person I don't worry about in terms of taking care of herself. Robins are starting to appear in Michigan. Spring? Oh, Lee, wouldn't that be beautiful? Hell yeah. And here's to mama. Here's to all the mamas. All the mamas of many different forms. Thank you. Thank you for standing up. Wait, she's 81. Uh-oh. You know what? My dad used to do that all the time. My dad used to always say, you were born in 1963, right? Yeah, right? Like, no. Okay? It was 64. And you know that. Anyway, R.I.P. But yeah, thanks for coming today. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed all the contributions people gave. Thank you, gal. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, find where the gap is in your area and stand in it. However that manifests, right? I don't think there's a right or wrong, frankly. I mean, there's probably don't be violent, don't hurt people and then get hurt yourself. Don't do that. But yeah. Oh. All right. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Tomorrow's Friday. I think. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah. Find your beauty. Find the beauty in the day. Look at something pretty. I don't care where it is. Okay? Look at something that makes you happy inside. All right? Thank you for what you do. I love you, Paulina. This community really keeps it going. So for that alone, I hang in there. I hang in there. All right. Good day, my friends. Have a good one. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. RadPod comes back tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So we'll be looking for RadPod tonight. I'll be in the chat, and I will see you then. All right. Good night. Or goodbye. I mean, good night. Good night. Good afternoon.